So welcome everybody. Welcome to the new format special with our friend here on the channel, Roxas. Big shout out. How are you today, Roxas?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. We're back for episode 3 of the Team Rocket Pocket podcast. It's going to be our second set review. So we've definitely got a packed schedule today. We're going to start with reviewing our top 5 card list we made when we reviewed Triumphant Light. And basically what MST and I did was try to predict what we thought the best 5 cards would be from that set in terms of tournament play and meta play. So we'll look at that. We'll talk a little bit about that meta as a whole, kind of reflect on it, and then we'll jump into our card review. And of course, at the end, we'll make another top 5 list.
Perfect.
Where we'll try it all again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we have a question here from Yuki. Roxas, was that you and Ursi this past weekend? Did you play this past weekend?
I didn't. I had to work on Saturday, so I ended up. Well, actually, funnily enough, I didn't go in. My girlfriend and I watched the entire Twilight Saga, but that's because I was sick. So, and I'll say this now: I don't recommend it.
All right, perfect. Excellent. So let's just jump right in it, right? So from our past format review, we each picked 5 cards that we thought were going to be the most impactful on the meta. So let me show it up on screen here, and our Roxas is going to do it too. So these were our combined top 5 picks of most impactful cards in Triumphant Light. This was like, I remember we did the review like one day after the set came out, so we did have some tournament data a little bit, so we weren't like completely blind. So yeah, I'm gonna read it out. So our first most impactful card we thought was gonna be Irida, Arceus in the second place, Leafeon in third, and then Crobat and Carnivine. What do you think about our list, Roxas, with with the hindsight of it all?
Yeah. So, I think we safely put Irida at the top. I would argue now that Arceus was absolutely the best card from this set.
Yeah, no doubt.
But we both know how powerful supporters are. And I think that's why we leant towards Irida here, thinking that's a game breaker. And truth be told, it is. You could really argue either of them for 1 or 2. I just think that with how ubiquitous Arceus is, being in seemingly every top deck that isn't Rampardos or Origin Form Palkia, it had to be number 1 for me.
Yeah.
It was insane what it did to the meta. And it's warped the entire game around it.
100%. Like, I think, when we read Irida, we just like defaulted to like the best case scenario, right? Where you have like 1 water energy on like each of your forward Pokemon, and then you like drop the Irida, you heal for 160 combined, right? And it's like Nirvana, right? But while playing it, we've both played it, and we realized that, hey, like the situations where you're actually even healing 2 Pokemon are like quite rare, right? It does end up more like an Erica than anything else. So in the end, like this card it wasn't like as oppressive, or or its presence in the meta wasn't as significant as we thought, like very far from it. So yeah, definitely have to give the place to Arceus. We saw it was strong from the beginning, but having a basic that deals 130, with 3 energies is just absolutely crazy. Yes, there's the condition that you have to have a full bench, but that's easy to obtain and most decks.
You're doing that anyway. Right.
Exactly.
Part of the game.
Yeah. And so let's go to our 3rd, 4th, and 5th pick. Leafeon EX in the 3rd. You think we saw correctly, or did we whiff on this one too?
I think we whiffed. I really do. It's a great card, and we have seen it have some success. But I would argue that we missed on. Let me just put it out there first. We missed on 2 cards that absolutely, in retrospect, should be on this list. 1, Sudowoodo, and 2, Origin Form Palkia.
Yep.
I would put them both above the 3 cards on the bottom of this list.
100%. Yeah. Like Leafeon, obviously, like it still saw play, and like the Leafeon Celebi decks, it's not a bad card. Like it's definitely like fun to play, and it has its utility, but it's true that, you know, like we completely flew over Origin Form Palkia, and because it had 3 energies, we were like, oh, it's like too much energy investment. But we didn't, you know, we forgot about Manaphy and how much
Yeah.
strength, you know, Manaphy adds to single point Pokemon. um, yeah, you know, you open Manaphy, you have a single point Pokemon, and then you have your finisher, which is an EX. So we totally disregarded that. Crobat and Carnivine. I mean, Crobat saw some play like the first week, right? There was like a bunch of like Arceus Crobat decks, and it performed okay. It's all right, but you know, it definitely didn't hold up to you know, the Arceus Dialga combination.
I think with Crobat, it's ultimately a very high variance card in that it when they get two of them going, you basically lose. Well, because it's a stage 2 and because you also have to have Arceus out, like it really just. I think that's why we didn't see it really spike too many tournaments. Ultimately, over the course of a 9-10 round day, you're going to have enough rounds where you don't get your Crobat. You're stuck with Zoop or something else like that, and this card isn't able to do its job. It's not able to do what it was intended to be in the deck for. I do really, when it comes to Carnivine, I still think there is going to be a place for this card at some point. And as we see, we both said in episode 1 of the podcast, when we reviewed this card, the more aggro cards Grass gets, the better Carnivine will become.
Yeah.
And as more sets are released, naturally that's going to become true. I don't think Carnivine's day in the sun is over.
That's true,
And Crobat, on the other hand, too, if we do end up getting more support for stage 2s, which we may see in this set today, I could see it becoming great. Because like I said, it's a nasty, disgusting card. When you have 2 of them out and you're doing 60 plus whatever you're attacking with, it's kind of unbeatable. It's just so hard to get going.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, excited to see our top 5 for this new format. So let's jump into it. Let's get into the new pack coming tomorrow, Shining Revelry.
Shining Revelry, folks. Let's just touch on the gimmick of this pack before we jump in.
Yep.
For anyone who I didn't realize from the title, it's got shinies in it. So there's going to be a new set of chase cards. Now, this is important because in every other pack, you could argue that the crown or the 2-star trainers were really, really the chase cards that you were after beyond meta playables. But you would naturally typically get those. Now we have a brand new rarity we've never seen in the game before, the shiny rarity. There's both one, what do you want to call them? Shiny and 2 shiny?
I call them like 1 shiny, 2 shiny, I think.
Yeah, and yeah, so more than ever, we're going to be craving. I can see what they did here with both the crown rare Pokeball and the shiny cards. We're gonna be ripping packs looking for those juicy playables.
Yeah, they just gave collectors like a whole new level of like, you know, like chase cards, right? Like you look at the Charizard line, they gave every single Pokemon in the Charizard line a shiny. So you can bet the whales are gonna open their wallets wide, right, to get that double.
I can see my wallet over there, and it's trembling right now.
In fear.
That crown rare Pokeball exists, and I'll tell you what, MST, if you agree with me, I think this is the first set where I thought, oh, they know what they're up to when I saw that crown Pokeball. Yeah. That's nasty.
100%. So yeah. I mean, I like the new rarity. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
We'll touch on it, but the fact that the pack has 9 EXs and it's kept like the EX percentage almost similar to what it was in previous packs when we only got 5 EXs, it just means like people are gonna pull more EXs, so it's gonna give like newer players or returning players, you know, more cards to play with. So props to the devs. Yeah.
They knew what they were up to, man. They know how to get me to open my wallet, because if I get 1 crown Pokeball, you know I'm going to be up for that second.
Yeah, but if you get 1, you're going to want a second. So that's like twice the
Exactly.
That's like twice
Well,
the investment. So watch out. I'm actually hoping I'm getting none, so I don't have to like chase the second one. I'm happy with my basic
exactly.
flared Pokeballs. That's fine. I'll take those.
I know if I get one and I'm sitting at like 1,600 pack points, I'm going to be doing the math. Oh, well, if I just get $100 of Poke Gold, I'll be basically at enough pack points for, for a full one.
That's exactly how the devs want you to think. They're like
Those
perfect.
those
It's
cheeky
all
bastards.
intended, all intended. All right, so let's jump in then.
Yeah.
Um, with
So,
the
so typically, chat, what we do for this is one of us will read one of the typings. Well, typically, we've only done one other set review, but yeah, one of us will read one of the typings, and then we'll switch off for each. So I'll let you start this time, MST, with
Awesome.
grass type cards. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So grass, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, every set starts with the same type, right? They always keep the
Mm-hmm.
type orders and the same. So grass. Our first one is none other than Weedle from the Beedrill line. We're starting with an EX line right away. Pretty standard stuff for a grass basic, right? 50 HP. You've seen this on Execute. You've seen this on the other Weedle as well. So it's not like this one has more HP or anything. Fire type weakness is expected. One retreat is expected. And then it has multiply, which is basically the coughing effect, right? From I don't remember if it was Mythical Island or Space Time
Mythical
Smackdown,
Island.
but it
Yeah,
pulls a
Mythical Island.
copy of itself onto the bench. Like the other Weedle attacks, right? It has a one. I'm gonna pull it up. It has one damage. It has one damage for 20, if I'm not mistaken. So, what do you think about this card?
I mean, I do like these effects in general because you are essentially not drawing a card because you're putting it on your bench, but you're thinning your deck for future draws. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't play the Division, I think it was called, on that original coughing. I didn't
Yeah,
play that.
yeah,
I, I really preferred the other coughing that can hit for 20, set up some damage, and
yeah,
obviously now card like Cyrus everywhere. I think the damage is more important.
yeah,
It's a cool effect, but when you only can play 2 copies of a basic and you've already got Pokeball, you
yeah.
don't really need this effect.
Yeah, you don't need it. And
So,
honestly, I'll be honest with you, this effect can actually be like a double-edged sword, right? Like you're
mhm.
clogging up. Yes, you're thinning your deck, but you're clogging up like a super important bench slot with a second Weedle that you might never develop during the game, and that might
Yeah,
even act as a Sabrina target to lose you the game after you lose your EX, right?
100%. It's
Yeah,
important to note that the way, every turn, the way you play your bench, leaving slots open for potential other cards to come down that can actually affect the game. You don't want to be wheedling out another Weedle when you've only got one Kakuna in hand.
100%.
So I, I'm with you there. I do think that if we ever see a really, really powerful stage one, like Wheezing was good, but it wouldn't really combo that well with other Wheezings. If we ever see a
Yeah,
stage one that kind of combos with itself somehow,
yeah,
I could see them maybe revisiting this effect and saying, hey, let's do this again. People are going to want this card on their bench.
that's right.
But this Beedrill line, and flash, spoiler alert, I don't really see a benefit in this specific Beedrill line
Yeah,
to having this.
100%. Yeah, like the coughing multiply, you had wheezing and you had Koga. So with Koga, it was useful to have a second coughing on the bench because you could immediately drop the wheezing that you Koga back into your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this Weedle effect is just, yeah, it doesn't help. So let's just go to the next card already. It's
Yeah.
Evolution. Kakuna, 80 HP, 1 grass energy for String Shot, 20 damage, flip a coin, and paralyzes, which is kind of nice. You have Fire Weakness, of course, and double retreat. Let me just check the retreat on the other Kakuna just to see if we can compare it somehow. So the previous Kakuna had double retreat as well, same HP, and it had Bug Bite for 30, only 10 damage more. So I actually like this new Paralyze effect better. It's super
Yeah.
useful on curve, right? If you're playing into a Dialga, if you're playing into a Moltres, if you're playing into an EX basic that has to use its attack to be useful, the Paralyze could actually like ruin their tempo completely. So yeah, I actually like really like this stage one. I think it's great leading into Beedrill.
I love this card, and I really want to see more stage ones that have interesting effects on them. Not just, do a little bit more damage for 2 energy while you're curving out into the stage two, right? I want to see more cards like this and disrupt the opponent that have unique effects and that reward you for actually evolving into your stage one.
Hmm.
It's and paralysis is a dirty effect.
Yeah.
It's extremely annoying, and the fact that this can give you time to find your Beedrill actually mitigates some of the risk of playing a stage two, which
Yeah.
is that you're not destroyed in time. I
Yeah.
like that synergy there.
100%.
I
I think
like this card a lot.
yeah, I like it. I think it's great to play on curve as well. If you're going first and you have a 50% chance to paralyze, this can actually be a big deal. So let's go
Wow,
ahead.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Let's go ahead to its evolution, the final stage. We've been investing energy in this, and then what's the output? So here we have it. Beedrill EX, grass type, 170 HP, quite bulky. I think this is the bulkiest grass type after Venusaur.
Yeah.
This is like Executor EX is 160, so this is absolutely the bulkiest one after Venusaur. 2 energies only. Crushing Spear, 80 damage. Discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Fire weakness and 1 retreat. It's funny because the stage 1 has 2 retreat and then Beedrill has 1. But there you have it. It fits the typing, right?
Absolutely.
It's a bug type, so it's quick, right? What do you think
This
about? Yeah,
card,
go ahead.
yeah, I mean, this card, I'll put it out there. It's extremely powerful, but it's a stage two. And how much is that going to hold it back, right? 80 damage it's a really good chunk, but we need to talk about this ability here to discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. There are so many cards that this is good against that are currently dominating the game. From Palkia to Arceus to Darkrai. It's such a good effect to have attached to an 80 damage attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, it forces your opponent to either retreat into something that was already prepped from the turn before, or spend his energy this turn investing in the active to attack again, which leaves the bench right without energy. So it's kind of makes your opponent make a tough decision between, do I attack with the same basic or the same card in the active that already took 80 damage, right? Or do I sack it or do I retreat it into something else, right? So it makes energy management super tough, right? The only thing that it's worth mentioning is that it discards from the active, right? So it can't affect energy that's already on the bench the same way Gyarados does, but Gyarados can also target your own Pokemon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the shine, like the shining statistics here are its HP, the HP that it has, the fact that it has Erica support, and yeah, being a
ridiculously
stage,
tanky.
yeah, it is
It's
super
like,
tanky. Yeah,
can't believe a bee has this much HP, but that is another thing too. 80 is going to or two shot, excuse me, a lot of the most powerful EXs in the game. And the fact that you're disrupting their development and essentially, I don't want to say gaining a turn on them, but if they're not ramping, you are.
yeah,
You're taking a higher turn's worth of energy from them.
yeah. And I think
you can't ignore that.
Yeah, and I think what's also important to mention is all the grass weakness that we've had in the past few packs, right? You have Weavile with grass weakness, you have Darkrai with grass weakness, Sudowoodo has grass weakness, Garchomp EX has grass weakness, so Rampardos has grass weakness, so Beedrill one-shots the Rampardos once it gets to 100 if it doesn't have a cape because of the grass weakness. So grass weakness is actually relevant in the recent meta, so I'm excited to see how this plays out.
It
Yeah,
wears both a cape and a helmet fantastically. One of the best things about the helmet on the Executor X was just how long it took
yeah,
to chisel away and really beat that guy down.
that's right.
And this can do the same thing with a guaranteed 80 and removing an energy.
Yep.
So again, stage 2, how important is that going to be?
Yeah.
I think anyone who looks at this and says, "Oh, it's not that good," in a vacuum is wrong. It's a great card, but is being a stage 2 going to be too much of a drawback ultimately?
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to play it in like a Leafeon or an Executor deck, and yeah, let's see if I'll pull it. That's the
Yeah, does it come out at 2 a.m. tonight? I think.
yeah, it comes out tonight. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So okay, well, I think that wraps it up for B drill. Let's move on to the next one. We got Pincer. We're gonna go a bit faster through the non-EXs. We're gonna only stop if we think there's a competitive potential for the card. So Pincer, 90 HP, a grass type, 3 energies for Guillotine Rush, a coin flip effect. Flip a coin until you get tails. So Misty-like effect. This attack does 40 more damage for each head. So 50 base and then 40 for each heads. I'm gonna go ahead and say like they're definitely leaning into the coin flip for Pincer, but yeah, like the damage is nice. The HP is super low, right? 90 HP won't survive anything. Do you really want to invest 3 energies into this? Is the question.
It's just a pack filler card for people who are just getting into the game. This can help them maybe fill out their deck while they do some solo battles to grind out some pack hourglasses. But yeah, I mean, we're here to talk about tournament cards.
Yeah.
This ain't seeing play, and it's fine. Not every card is meant to be absolutely broken.
That's right.
So yeah,
all
cool
right,
I'll give it a shout there.
Yeah. Perfect. So let's see the next one. Spirigatito, probably one of the cutest cards in this format. 60 HP,
Oh yeah.
1 energy, cry for help. Put one random grass Pokemon from your deck into your hand. So different from Weedle, right? That clogs your bench, right? This one actually helps you search for other grass Pokemon, be it its own evolution line or other grass Pokemon in your deck. I think this could be fun to use. But its strength really depends on its stage 1 and stage 2s.
I think this card's amazing, actually. I think drawing a card that you know is going to be a Pokemon and thinning your deck out is actually really powerful. It's stage 1 and stage 2 support built in. I like this card a lot. And you know, putting a card in hand is so much better. We talked about this when we brought up the bench slots earlier. You want that decision tree. You want that choice. And Sprigatito lets you do that while also thinning your deck, while finding your evolutions. And most importantly, if you're just... This kind of effect, I want to see more of, especially on Pokemon that evolve into a stage 2.
Yeah.
This is a quality card.
It is a quality card. It's a great effect for a basic. I'm a bit disappointed in its stage 1 and stage 2, but we'll get there. So let's look into it. But once again, this is probably one of the best effects you could have on your basic, right? That is like a basic for a stage 2 line, right? Like it helps you. It adds consistency into drawing your stage 1 and stage 2. So great effect. Let's see at its stage 1. Floragato, 90 HP. 2 energies for slash, fire weakness, 1 retreat. Pretty basic stuff for stage 1. I'm not sure if you want to linger longer on this one.
There's something I want to mention, which is that I wish it was a 1 energy attack here, because it's, spoiler alert, the stage 2 has a 2 energy attack. And if you go turn 1 with Sprigatito, you can't attach an energy to it and use Cry for Help, but it will evolve into Floragato to curve straight into Meowscarada. You also then can't attack with Floragato. the third turn of the game being your second turn. That kind of annoys me. I think this would have been better, like dealing 30 for 1,
Yeah.
just based on the way Sprigatito is templated. But
No, I
yeah, I
agree.
mean,
It definitely,
yeah,
it definitely ruins your tempo a little bit for sure.
yeah, exactly. When you look at the evolutions, you want to look at how cards curve out into each other. But of course, this is the first Florigato, and we may get another one in the future that corrects that. So, yeah, just wanted to mention that. So
Perfect. So let's check out this stage 2. So this is supposed to be your sweeper. This is supposed to be, you got the base, you got the stage 1, so you have to sweep with this. Masquerada, 140, which is a decent amount of HP. Grass type, double grass energy for fighting claws, 60 base. But if you're attacking an EX Pokemon, 130, which is quite a lot.
wow,
Fire
that's a
weakness.
lot.
Yeah, it's a lot for sure. And 1 retreat. This is quite a lot of damage for 2 energies. But I'm not sure. Like, once again, like you can definitely punish some EX decks like Dialga Arceus with this. But what happens if you run into like like Rampardos? What if you run into like somebody like Skarmory Magnezone, something that doesn't run EXs, right? Your whole gimmick is being paired against an EX and getting that big damage. And if that doesn't happen, the 60 base is kind of a letdown. What do you think?
Well, I do agree with you, but I actually think this card's a little better than you, perhaps. And the reason why is, I agree. If you are being paired into, let's just look at the current Rampardos deck as an example. I actually don't think 60 damage is that bad against that deck. It's two-shotting most things. It wears a helmet really well. With a cape, it's got a whopping 160 HP, and the 1 retreat cost synergizes really well with its 2 energy attack, because you can actually retreat, keeping 1 energy on it, and then you just need to devote 1 more grass when you bring it back in. Now, yes, what you said about not getting paired into EXs is absolutely true, but I don't think 60 is the worst. We've seen Origin 4 and Palkia do work just hitting for 60. And grass weakness is a weakness prevalent on a lot of cards, right? This one-shot to Sudowoodo. I think it has a lot of HP for the fighting to get through. It's a stage 2, but it only gives up 1 point.
That's true.
And I think it is quite strong when you consider that. To
Here's,
me, I was going to say one more thing. It's definitely, the fire weakness is pretty good on this, because all the good fire Pokemon are just one-shotting it anyway. There's not really many chiseling away at it as well. But yeah, ultimately you're right. We've all been there when we have Sudowoodo in the active spot, and it's doing 20 every turn. It's pretty miserable. But 60 is a lot more serviceable than that.
I mean, I can definitely see like an executor quote unquote trainer deck with double Masquerada lines, right? Like you have executor slapping at whatever's in the active, and then Masquerada is the finisher, right? You put a helmet on executor. Arceus comes in, let's say he's uncaped, right? An uncaped Arceus comes in, clears your executor, gets hit for 20, drops to 120, and then Masquerada clears it, right? But would you play Masquerada over Beedrill is the question, right? Would you play Masquerada over Celebi is the question. It's tough to say. It's tough to say. And I want to touch on one thing for these like 1 point stage 2s. The bar for 1 point stage 2s is super high, right? If you look at the meta right now, what are the like 1 point stage 2s that see play? You have Magnezone, which is basically like a 1 energy investment, you deal 110. You have Rampardos, which is also a 1 energy investment, and you deal 130, right? So the bar is like super high. You have to deal over 100 damage for 1 energy, or you probably won't see play, right? So yeah, I mean, I think it's close. I think Masquerade is definitely close to being as good as Rampardos as good as Magnezone, but once again, it depends on the matchup. If you don't get that EX matchup, I feel like you might be a little bit let down. So
You're right, and it is a lot of time to invest into evolving this.
100%.
Now, let's go back to Sprigatito. Okay, how do you feel in the context of having such a powerful card like Sprigatito as your basic?
Yeah.
With this in tandem. So let's say you brought up eggs. That's a great example. Let's say you're playing this line in eggs. You're digging out your Executor EX. You're digging out your Eggies. You're getting set up. Now you've got a nice little finisher that can come in after eggs has done its job.
Yeah.
Don't hate it. Sprigatito is good.
Yeah.
So
it's really good,
is this good enough?
Yeah, I mean, Sprigatito can definitely, if you're playing like 2 egg lines, 2 Mouscarada lines, Sprigatito can definitely fish your egg or your Executor, right? Like it's gonna reduce the need for comms. It's gonna reduce the need for Yono. Just its ability. Like the only issue I have is that there's a lot of heavy hitters in the meta now that could easily get to 60 in 1 or 2 turns, right? So you do have to spend 1 turn with energy on it in the active, right? So it becomes a target. But I agree. The effect is super cool. I like Meowscarada, but once again, I think it's just the same way Tauros was like situational. Yeah. But we'll have to see.
I like it. Yeah. I like it. I think I like a card like this because I do think there might be a window for this card to see play.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
where the meta shifts in a certain way, and all of a sudden you're thinking, I mean, if the meta's all Arceus Dialga and Rampardos, I don't think this is that bad.
I agree.
Because it's hitting some grass weaknesses, and on top of that, it's obviously devouring the Arceus Dialga deck. So
perfect.
No, I think this is a card that it's not outbroken, but it might have a place.
Yeah,
definitely.
Should we move on to fire now?
Yes, fire. Do we finally get an aggro card we've been waiting for? Well, let's start with this cute little boy right here. It is Charmander, chat. Charmander, 60 HP, combustion for 20 for a single fire energy, weak to water, and 1 retreat cost. Now, I know we said this is a kind of bread and butter card, and we said we might want to move through these, but I actually think we should pause for a second here and talk about this compared to the current Charmander that sees play in the Charizard deck. And who better to do that than our Charizard aficionado, MSD himself.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching some other streamers today, and whenever this card was pulled up, I've seen statements like strict upgrade, like why would you ever run the other Charmander? Like this is like a million times better. Woohoo! Like yes, Charizard is back.
I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to hear that.
I was surprised
think
to
this
hear
is good.
Yeah,
but Ember dealing 30 to kill an eggs is a massive deal.
Yeah, and not only egg. Now you have Sprigatito. Sprigatito is a 60, but you have the Weedle. You have the new Weedle that might see play. So it's 50. So you might need the old Charmander to one-shot this if it starts in the active, right? So
absolutely.
I definitely don't agree with people saying that like the 20 for 1, which is the standard stuff. I definitely still like the genetic Apex Charmander, because if you're attacking with it, the reason why you're attacking with it is because 1, you can get a KO, right?
Yeah, right.
Or like early, you can get an early KO, or sometimes I've actually used it like super late in the game where I'm like down 1 point. I can't afford to put up a Moltres or the Zard, and you can put up the basic Charmander and like waste the energy to chip for that extra damage that you need. So in that case, you don't really care about discarding the energy because it's gonna die next turn anyways. So you want
another thing people must be overlooking then, because it's funny what you said about other set reviews thinking this is strictly better. It definitely isn't, because not only does the original Moltres generate plenty of energy that can make up for the 1 you discard with Ember, but so does the new Charizard, right? Stroke. You can just oh, I used my Ember, I used up my energy, but that's fine, because by the time I've got Charizard, I can add 3 free fire energy to it. So, very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, I'll definitely try like one of each, right? I'll do like one like this and one the discard, and I'll take it from there. I'll play test it some more, but I'm not ready to give up on Genetic Apex Charmander. I think it still has a place.
No.
Let's check out Charmeleon.
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of a potential upgrade here, we've got the Stage 1 new Charmeleon, 90 HP, and for 2 fire, it can use Combustion for 40. It's weak to water, obviously, and it has a 2 retreat cost. So let's compare this to the current Charmeleon, right? That one has a 3 energy attack.
Yeah.
This curves out better, since it can attack for 2 energy, in my opinion. Do you agree with that, or do you?
I agree with that. I agree with that. There's been times where the 60 damage was actually clutch, because like you could take out like a Blitzel, you could take out a Farfetch, you could take out, you know, a bunch of things. But like you're right that having this in the active is much better, right? With the new Charmander, with Stoke on Charizard. So yes, it does curve better. Once again, like I wouldn't say I would say that yes, this one is an upgrade. Like the Charmander, you could debate that, you know, it's not actually an upgrade, it's just like an alternative. This one might actually be an upgrade versus the old Charmeleon. But once again, you know, like there is situations where you want that 60. It's an important threshold in a lot of situations. When you're not starving on energy, you might think about it twice. But I'll have to play test it some more just to be sure. Yeah. So let's see the end result of this new evolution line.
Oh yeah. So chat, what is the payoff? Here it is. The big boy himself. It's Charizard EX, 180 HP. For 1 fire energy, you can Stoke. Take 3 fire energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. Holy! And finally, I believe this is, could be wrong, I believe this is our first 5 energy attack we've seen in Pocket. For 3 fire and 2 colorless, Steam Artillery does 150 damage, flat damage here. No discarding energy, no this or that. It's 150 every turn for 5 energy.
Yeah.
MST, you're the man who loves Charizard. Tell me.
I do. So,
what do you think?
Yeah. So once again, it's like the same story that we had with Charmander. Everybody's like, this new Charizard is trash. Why would you ever play this over like the old Charizard? Like only 150. The old one deals 200. Yeah, and the old one gets one shot by Mew the turn after, right? This new one does not get one shot by Mew, right? This new one can KO whatever you have in the active, right? And then it can take care of a caped Mew easy peasy, right? Like, guys, I think this Charizard might actually be an upgrade just because of the Mew interaction, right?
It's amazing. In my opinion, it's amazing.
It
fact that why are people sleeping on Stoke? Look, one comment I've seen a lot is, well, you've got to have it in your active spot. I'm sorry, attaching 3 energy is an absurd number of energies. And we brought this up in a previous review, or actually I think it was episode 2 of the podcast where we did a meta review, and we said, look at the cards that are always seeing play. God of War, Magneton. What do they have in common? They attach energy.
Yeah.
And 150 every turn with no downside is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
It's absurd, yeah. Like, people are like, no, but I prefer 200. Like, it's actually like an upgrade to have less damage so you don't get a revenge kill. And 150, if you put a helmet on the Moltres, right? If you put a helmet on the Moltres, there's nothing that survives this, right? Dialga chips itself for 20. It dies. It, like, even with weakness, right? It has weakness. Arceus that attacks your Moltres goes from 160 to 140 if the Moltres has a helmet. It dies to Steam Artillery. we talked about Mew. Mew with helmet dies this team artillery.
Mm-hmm.
Beedrill has fire weakness. It dies this team artillery without a cape. So like guys, like the threshold for this team artillery is amazing. My only the HP is amazing. You cape the Charizard, you get to 200. Like it can
200.
easily survive. It can easily survive 2 EX attacks, easy peasy. The Stoke is just like the cherry on top, right? Like if you break your hand and you don't get Moltres, then yes, you can like Stoke, which is great. My only downside that I see versus the old Charizard is just the retreat cost, right? It's 3 instead of 2. You do have to discard 1 energy if you leaf it out. But that's about it, guys. I'm excited for the new Charizard. Like we're gonna start slapping some Mews around. Like the era of Mew is over.
Yeah. Honestly, it's so refreshing to hear your opinion here. I felt like I was being gaslit by society when everyone was saying this was worse than the current Charizard. But and I was thinking, this is brilliant. And you know what? As well, I think. Tell me what you think of this hypothesis. Because of this card has Stoke, you can cut Moltres now from the Charizard deck and actually maybe do something else. Do you think that's something? Have you thought about that, or would you still say, you know?
I've thought about it, but like fire is still very dry on alternatives, right? Like like fire has been like the forgotten child for like a couple of expansions now. And like the devs, I think the devs are super careful because they don't want to make fire too strong with Charizard, right? So like I thought about it, but if you take out Moltres, like I'm not sure what else you would play, right? That combos well with this. So yeah, I definitely still think the Moltres Charizard combo is still the way to go. I like that Stoke is an alternative if you brick, right? Let's say you're playing against like a stall deck. And so that means that if you get this really quick, you can just like Stoke and then get to work. So I like Stoke. I like Steam Artillery much better. Overall, I think it's going to be a great card. I think yes, we'll see a comeback of Charizard Moltres.
I just wonder if there's other opportunities to maybe play Arceus with this or some other cards that. You know, since Stoke really takes care of Moltres' job, it's going to take some testing, but I just think something to think about. Perhaps we can, we can finally run a fire deck that doesn't have Moltres.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely try it. There's Ellie in the chat. Maybe the return of Zarkanine. Maybe my only issue with Arcanine is that it still doesn't like one shot anything useful.
That's true.
Right? Like it one shot Celebi, I guess, with Giovanni even.
It does 30, right?
Yeah. So but we'll see. Yeah, well, there's different ways to try it out. There's different ways. Yeah, Arceus, Heatran. I mean, we'll definitely combine it. So
I like where chat is going. I mean, this is what I'm saying.
They're cooking. Like, they're cooking.
This card, and I think that's the biggest thing here. And I know you love Moltres, and I totally hear what you're saying. But this card opens up other avenues we have not yet seen Fire have. Yeah. Because of Stoke. Stoke is the crucial ability here. It's the key. And the key to hopefully unlocking some other sweet types of decks that Fire can play. Because right now, really one game plan. Put me Moltres out, flip me Eds, kill you with a sweeper. I'd love to see some alternative gameplay for Fire. So I'm so glad to hear you say that this is you think this is better than the old one.
I definitely think it's better because of the Mew interaction. If Mew didn't exist, then I would 100% be on board with the Genetic Apex version fans. But because of Mew, this one is strictly better by far. Yeah. So excited to see to pull it and to play it. Absolutely.
All right.
Let's see what's next. Yeah.
An absolute bomb of a card here, and that is Sarcasm, by the way. Although, I will mention, this is a lot of HP for a basic. So we've got Magmar, 70 HP, and for one fire, it's got Flare for 20, weak to water and 1 retreat. MST, could this be a sign of potential power creep? We are seeing a basic with 70 HP and a 20 damage attack. Not bad. I mean, normally it's 60 to 20 or 50 to 20, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I think the HP is nice. One retreat is like pretty clutch. I think maybe the old Magmars, I think we got a couple of versions of Magmar, and I'm pretty certain at least one of them has two retreat, so it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But they still, I mean, let's see Magmortar. I still feel like they haven't really given us like a strong Magmortar. So yes, it's nice to
Yes.
have like a good basic, but if you're not getting anywhere with the stage one, maybe in future versions they're gonna give us a stronger Magmortar. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
Let's see what it looks
speaking
like.
of Magmortar, stage 1, 120 HP, Smoke Bomb. For 2 fire and a colorless, you deal 70 with an additional effect. During your opponent's next turn, if the defending Pokemon tries to use an attack, your opponent flips a coin. If it's tails, that attack doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Weak to water with 3 retreat cost.
Yeah.
Is this a payoff to you? I mean, that's
Mm,
definitely a decent effect,
yeah.
but
I'll be honest, not really. I think the thing you can
yeah.
compare it with is like the Wheezing, right, from Mythical Island, the one that does smoke screen. Let me just pull it up to remember what it was like. I think it's 2 energies. Where is it? Yeah, I mean,
I'm pretty sure it
Wheezing.
is, yeah.
Yeah, Wheezing from Mythical Island. Or was it? Let me just check to be sure I'm not making a mistake here. A1A, yeah, Mythical Island. So Wheezing from
Yeah.
Mythical Island had 110 HP. This smoke screen, 2 energies for 50 with the same effect. So I don't think yeah, this has 10 more HP. It deals 20 more damage only for 1 more energy. I don't think you invest in this at all. So once again, Fire is getting the the problem child treatment. The devs are they give us cards like Charizard, which I think are gonna be very very prevalent in the meta, and then they balance it out by giving us like not bad, but like not great 1-pointers. I think that's their way to balance Fire. I think they gave us Moltres, they gave us Charizard. They know these cards are like super strong. They know that if they gave us something more, it might be problematic.
Yeah.
So they hit the brakes. They hit the brakes whenever it comes to like 1-point Pokemon in Fire, and I think we're seeing it here.
If you want to play this card, you absolutely need to play the other Magmar, which I believe it could be Space Time Smackdown, but I think it was Mythical Island, and for 1 fire, it attaches a fire energy to itself.
Yeah,
because you need to curve out into those 3 energy. If you just put 1 energy on Magmar, attack for 20, and then evolve into this and have to wait 2 more turns to Smoke Bomb, you're not in a good spot.
Yeah,
you need to play that other one to get 100%. To get the full effect. And but again, the payoff really isn't there. I think ultimately I would have preferred it to burn or something.
Yeah,
probably have been stronger that way than this effect. So yeah, I mean, kind of cool artwork. I'll give it that. But I think it's time to take a look at our final fire card.
Yes, sir.
So we've got Paldean Tauros, 110 HP, Blaze Tackle. For fire and 2 colorless, you deal 80. It also deals 10 to itself. Water, 2 retreat. So, well, that's a lot of energy for a basic.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Once again, right? Because of Moltres, they can't make like the basics too strong, right? Because you don't want to have like an Arceus in Charizard. I mean, I would want to, obviously, because I enjoy playing Fire. But like the meta designers, they don't want to give like another target to Moltres to put energy on, like while being a basic. So this is kind of what they gave us. Like, if you compare this with Origin Form Palkia, which is also a basic, has 10 more HP, does 60 or 120, so that's basically like 90 HP on average, and doesn't take retaliation damage, right? You can kind of understand why they're like nerfing, in quotation, the other fire cards outside of Charizard and Moltres, because they don't want that deck to be too strong with the tech cards. I like the art though; it looks really cool. Bro's like he's sending flames out of his nostrils. Looks scary as hell. So yeah, great art. Not a great card, but that's okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's
So
move into water. Do you want to read out our first one here?
perfect. So I'll
Tentacle.
do the water types. We have Tentacool, 70 HP, 1 energy, Rain Splash for 10. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty standard stuff. By giving it 10 more HP, they take off some damage. So I guess it really depends what its evolution looks like. Should we
We are seeing a small creep, I would say. There's a lot more 70 energy basics in this set than have been in any of the others.
mhm.
And I wonder, we'll see if that's a pattern going forward. Because, like you said, you're trading off the damage. And personally, I'd rather have more damage than HP in most scenarios when it comes
Yeah.
to a basic, because you're just getting that chip in before you evolve.
That's right.
So, yeah, like I said, let's check out the next card.
So the next one, Tentacruel, 100 HP, 10 less HP than its genetic Apex version. Wave Splash for 40, and the other tentacle from genetic Apex, it did 20. Had 2 energies, if I remember correctly. It poisoned. It did 50, and it poisoned for 2 energies. So I mean, more energy up front, less HP. 100 HP is kind of like a really important threshold to cross. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about like Mars Shadow. I'm thinking about like you kind of want just a little bit more. The attack is nice, but once again, I think it's more filler for water than anything else.
Yep, I'm not impressed by it personally. I think the other one's better.
Yeah,
You said it was 2 energy attack, right? You're
Yeah.
curving into it.
Yeah.
So the other one, poison, is a lot stronger, synergizes with more cards in the game. This is just doing 40 and
yeah. All right, let's see what's next. Weasel, 70 HP, water gun for 10. It's a copy paste of Tentacool. Look at that. It's exactly the same HP, exactly the same weakness. Water gun for 10. I think they just took the card and they pasted a new image in the rectangle here. Easy peasy. There, done.
Yeah, whoever was working on the cards for this set was probably pretty happy about that one.
Why work hard when you can work smart? There you go. All right, so let's see what Floatzel looks like. 90 HP, 1 energy for Water Arrow. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Does this remind you of something from Genetic Apex? And
I was thinking of Rotom for a second, doing 20.
That's true. That's true, but also like
Hitmonlee, right?
Sorry.
Hitmonlee, is that what you're thinking
As
of?
well. Also Zipstrika, right? It's a copy paste of Zipstrika.
Yes, good point, because you evolve into it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a copy paste of Zipstrika into the water line. I mean, it's nice. Like, yeah, it's fun to have 30. Water already had they had Luminion, but Luminion was 50 for 2 energies. So I actually like this better.
Yeah.
Because 2 energies is kind of a lot in the current meta. Like like you don't want 2 energies investment now. The meta is just too quick. It is a stage 1, same as Luminion. So I do think this is a better. If you want to play a bench hitter, water has a lot of like splash damage, so I don't think you actually need dedicated bench hitters, right? It has Articuno Splash, it has Palkia Splash. I don't think you need cards like this, but if you want to run it, then this is probably the better version over Luminion.
You know what? I'm going to say something. Zepstrika was incredible, and a big reason why was Magikarp. However, I wonder if this could be all right at some point if the meta falls a certain way and water will have this effect, because it's a lot easier to get off than Articuno's Blizzard in terms of the 1 energy investment.
Yeah.
In like an aggro deck with Starmie X, where you don't mind putting the energy on this, that could be similar to like the Pikachu X deck, which also did 90 new energy.
Yeah.
So there's some comparisons there, and that was a great deck at its time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, interesting. And Yuki in the chat, you have Wug Basic that does the same thing. So let's touch on it. So Wiglet is the basic for Wug Trio. 60 HP, Spring Out. One of your opponent's Pokemon is chosen at random, so it is a bit different, right? With Floatzel, you get to choose. This one, it depends. Honestly, like both Wug Trio and Wiglet, their strength really depends on how many Pokemon your opponent benched, right? If he only has one Pokemon in the active, then you know for sure which one you're going to attack. If he has two, right, it's a 50-50. If he places four, then your odds of chipping the one that you want are kind of low, right? But I mean, this is like, let's not forget, it's a basic one energy that does 30 damage. It is random, but if there's only one or two, 30 damage is actually significant, right? Considering it's a basic for a stage one. Usually a basic for a stage one is 60 HP, 20 damage. That's the standard. So it, like, honestly, I like it. I think it's a great basic into Wugtrio.
I'm not gonna lie. This card or this Pokemon creeped me out when I played Scarlet and Violet. This artwork is so cute. Why couldn't you have looked like that in the game?
Oh,
Look!
man.
Aww. But yeah, I mean, going back to what you said, we've seen a place for lots of cards that can hit the bench. Hitmonlee being a perfect example. We just went on a tangent about Zebstrika. I don't actually hate this effect. 30 for one energy, you don't see it a lot on a basic, especially not one that can evolve into a Pokemon with as much potential as this one's evolution. So let's take a look at that.
Yeah, let's look at that. So here he is, the Wugtrio EX, 140 HP, which is pretty standard nowadays. I think that the devs are, they definitely love this breakpoint, right? And I think they're balancing cards around it very, very much so. And the effect is pop out throughout. I mean, they wanted to rhyme there. One of your opponent's Pokemon is chosen at random 3 times. For each time a Pokemon was chosen, do 50 damage to it. So a Dragonite-like effect.
Yeah, Dragonite players rejoice.
Dragonite players rejoice, that's right. Electric weakness is pretty standard. 1 retreat is super nice. We love to see it.
One retreat is absolutely tasty on this thing.
Yeah, we love to see it. And once again, like, the first time I read this card, I was like, yeah, like, it's 150 total, but it gets split. But then the more you think about it, how often are you playing against an opponent that has only 2 Pokemon on the field, right? And then at that point, you're dealing, like, if you ramp this with Manaphy, 150 damage every turn is definitely significant. So I think the strength of this card depends on if people are running low basics or not, right? If you have like Arceus Dialga, and like you have like
that's
a full...
good against this card, right? You've got loads of thick basic Pokemon that can flood the bench, and you're at that point, having 50 spread out 3 ways is actually quite bad.
It is,
But I agree with you. I mean, the 18 trainer decks are going to loathe this card.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is actually super strong against trainer decks, like you said, because they only play 1 basic in the active. They usually don't even drop the second one because they don't want to get Sabrina. So this card only has 1 target. So I think this might actually be, like you said, trainer deck tech. If you want to play, if you want to beat trainer decks on ladder, right? This might be a way to go because the way it focuses its damage. And like we said, if you're playing against Arceus Dialga, everything is super high HP. There's a Shaman healing for 40 spread. So strength really depends on how many basics your opponent is playing. But I think it's a cool card. I think it's definitely going to see some play.
I think it'll see play too. I think now one problem I do have with these kind of RNG inherent effects is the lack of control. I really do like to plan turns out in advance and, make sure that I know what damage I'm doing and where. Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
But thank you. But yeah, it's the raw power. And here's the thing. It's a 3 energy attack. So Dragonite's biggest problem was it would sit on the bench and it was so telegraphed that it was coming. You had ages while they were finding their electric and water energy, while they were evolving to find Pokemon, flood your bench, evolve, equip capes, do all these sorts of things that can sort of disrupt the high amount of damage the Dragonite can do.
Yeah.
This is coming down a lot earlier, turning on a lot earlier, and again, it doesn't have that annoying stage 2 restriction, and most importantly, the energy restriction.
Yeah.
The two new colors.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
got. I'm gonna be. I am gonna be shocked if this doesn't see play at some point, even if people quickly move away from it because they
Yeah.
realize that the element isn't good enough for tournament play.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we can sit here and pretend that 150 for 3 energy.
Yeah. No, I definitely I agree with you. Like you said, it's a better Dragonite. Single like one energy type, ramp it with Manaphy easily. It's a stage 1 instead of a stage 2. Like there's nothing the Dragonite deal does better. Like it has 20 more
No,
HP, but that's about it. And it only gives 1 point. But still, I think the pros outweigh the cons.
Dragonite, when you got it out there, if you were able to get 2 attacks off with it, you basically won the game.
Yeah.
This can do that much earlier,
much faster,
much
yeah.
more consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it does 50 less than Dragonite,
Mm-hmm.
but it comes online much earlier. Well, before they have time to, build out their bench and really kind of, like I said, against Dragonite, you had a lot of time to set up,
Mm-hmm.
to counter
Yeah.
the random of it. I love this card.
I
Great
think,
design,
Yeah.
great effect. Are you going to lose games because you hit the wrong Pokemon? Yes, and that's going to be the key. Is it powerful enough where you're willing to throw away a round here and there because you got unlucky, when the luck is just going to go your way most times, more often than not?
Yeah.
That's going to be the key, isn't it, for this card?
I agree. So excited to play it and to play against it. So we'll see. We got 2 more waters.
Yeah, let's check them out.
And they actually they're comboed together. We have Donzo. So for the Donzo fans, 120 HP, 4 energy, Ocean Cyclone, only 80 damage for 4 energy. This attack also does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So if you add the 30 on a full bench, that's 110 for 4 energy. I don't know what you think, but I think they kind of whiffed on this one.
Big whiff, way too expensive, not enough HP, not 3 retreat cost. I mean, and I know, so spoiler alert, the card it combos with makes it have no retreat cost, but look, we just talked about a card that for 3 energy can deal 150.
Yeah.
4 energy? What is the end game with this card? There's just so many better things to be doing with 4 energy. Dimensional Storm, Articuno's Blizzard for 1 less, also hits the entire bench for 10. This card, it is 1 point. Maybe we'll be regretting dissing it because it's 1 point, but no, what am I saying? It's 4 energy. It's too...
Yeah, I mean, I think they had they had a great potential, right, for the Donzo Tatsugiri combination, right? They could have done something really cool, right? They could have done it boosts each other's attack, you draw a card if they're both on the field. I don't know, something really nice, right? And then because they also gave us full art versions, right? And then they do this, right, which I think is kind of maybe a little bit uninspired, right? So I mean, let's just finish off with the Tatsugiri, right? So the 70 HP.
If this card was real, let me just say this: it would be a great coaster. But otherwise, I don't see a use for it. So.
Right. Yeah. So Tatsugiri, the 70 HP. There's the ability. Your Donzo has no retreat cost. Okay, but you're not sweeping with it anyways. Maybe this is maybe this will be the new baby Giratina for water. Right, a wall that moves for free, but why would you do that, right? Why would you do this instead of Drud?
Think about it, that's 4 deck slots, right? 2 Tatsugiri, 2 Dondozo, just to do that? No.
Yeah,
100%. Absolute. Well, I agree with you, they whiffed. I think they should have buffed each other in some way. I mean, the other one should have had an ability too. I don't understand why Dondozo doesn't do something with Tatsugiri. Maybe it's a flavor reason, something from the game where, that's just the way it is, and they wanted to kind of lean into how they played out with each other in the game. But this It is a 70 HP basic that does 20. We saw Tentacool earlier was a 70 that did 10. But you know, are you playing this without Dondozo? No.
No,
Are you
there's
playing
no.
Dondozo?
No. So.
No. It's a shame this didn't come earlier in the spoiler. If this came beforehand, we could have hyped up, wow, what does Dondozo do?
Yeah, we got really hyped. That's true. That's true. They definitely let us on that one, 100%. Yeah.
All right.
Should we move into electric?
It is time. Let's move into another EX card. All right, chat. If you don't think this card's cute, then you have no soul. It's Pikachu EX, 120 HP, the 3 lightning energy Thunderbolt for a whopping 150. However, discard all energy from this Pokemon. It's got a fighting weakness and a 1 retreat cost. MST, initial thoughts?
So initial thoughts, like when I saw this, my first reaction was like, oh no, come on, like not another 120 HP electric basic. It gets one shot by anything, and if it still survives, it's a perfect Cyrus target. Like, why would you play this? You're giving away 2 points, blah blah blah. But then it grew on me. The more I thought about it, the more it grew on me. And spoiler alert once again, you know, like this, the only reason why I gave this card like a second look and a second consideration is because of Pachirisu as well as Luxray. So I think this can act like the 3 energies for 50 is pretty nice, right?
Right, think about the breakpoints here with Geo and with Red, a card we're going to talk about in a bit here. This wipes nearly everything.
It does.
Not everything, but just about.
It does, yeah. And it's the same energy as Charizard for 2 energies less. The discard effect, it's bad, but only if you don't end the game with it, right? If you end the game with Thunderbolt, why do you care that you're going to discard, right? So my reasoning about this card is I think it's going to pair up well with Pachirisu, the new Pachirisu that ramps energy. So you could play double Pachirisu, double Pikachu EX, and then both Luxray lines with double Volkner, right? And the line would be you start with Pachi, you ramp energy, right, on maybe this Pikachu or the Luxray. You bring the Luxray second because it's a 1-pointer. You deal 120 once or twice with Volkner, and then you have Pikachu EX as a finisher way in the back, right? The same way Manaphy, Origin Form, Palkia, and Gyarados works, where you give away 2 points and you bring in Gary at the end, even if he's an EX. You could do something similar with this Pikachu. And, you know, like the double Volkner is super strong. I think it's going to play really well into EX decks, right? Where you can get 2 points with a Luxray KO, and then you can finish off whatever's left with this Pikachu. So I'm actually excited to play it. The only reason I think it's going to be playable, but I don't think it's going to be competitive. And the reason is the presence of fighting is still super prevalent in the meta. And cards like Rampardos, cards like Marshadow, are gonna be a huge problem for this Pikachu. But it's definitely not as bad as I've seen other people say. I think it's definitely playable. I'm excited to try it. So
I think 120 HP is its biggest downfall here. Yeah, with the weakness in tandem. And I do agree with you, though. I don't think the downside is as crazy as people think. I mean, how many times does your Palkia or your one-dimensional Storm ends the game? So I still don't love the drawback of discarding all energy from this Pokemon. I think I wouldn't have minded maybe discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Would that be too good, do you think? Like, where'd the balance lie here?
Yeah, I mean, for 150, yeah, like maybe 2. But if you discard 2, it's kind of like if you discarded everything anyways, right? Like you won't get you won't get that energy back. So might as well like full commit. Like this is your finisher, right? This is like you don't bring this out until the very end because you don't want to get damage on it because it becomes a Cyrus target, right? So this has to be like the only use would be the finisher.
You brought up Luxray, right? And that's obviously a stage 2. One thing that made Origin Form Palkia so devastating was it was a basic.
Yeah.
So if Electric eventually gets its own Origin form Palkia, then I agree. It kind of is going to play out like that deck.
Yeah.
Very similarly and be very strong.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see. I'm excited to play it. I'll be honest. I'll have to give it like a week. I have to give it like a week to really like make my mind up on it. I think it's gonna be fun in like random matches. I don't think it's gonna do that well in tournaments. But it's Pikachu, right? Everybody loves Pikachu. He's the poster boy. Of course, I want to play it. Of course, I want to try it out. So yeah.
All right, let's check out some more electric cards here. Next up, Voltorb. So 70 HP. Like I said earlier, starting to see a new baseline here potentially. And a lightning ball for 10. Weak to fighting, 1 retreat. Not much to say here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's starting to look like there's a sort of new baseline emerging in this set of a 10 damage attack with 70 HP. That's an interesting thing to note, but this card, nothing remarkable about it. So how about Electrode? Let me just get that loaded up. Here we are, stage 1, 90 HP, 2 lightning energy, tumbling attack, 50 plus. So flip a coin. If heads, it does 30 more damage. Weak to fighting, and 1 retreat. Is this better than the old Electrode to you that just does 70?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Right? Like
no retreat cost, right, on that old Electrode
there's
either.
100%. There's no retreat cost. Let me check if it has the same HP, just to like get the full view here. So it has 10 less HP. It's at 80, but it does 70 with no retreat. This one does 50 with 30, so 80. But the average is lower than 70, right? And it has a 1 retreat cost for 10 more HP. I don't think you play this. I think you play the Genetic Apex Electrode, especially if you have the full arts. The full arts look nice.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
go ahead.
I'm kind of sad that they made another Voltorb Electrode line here. They kind of lent into the Paldean Pokemon, but then we ended up getting like a new Tentacool.
Yeah.
And like, couldn't they have just maybe done some more Paldean Pokemon? But anyway, aside, here's Pachirisu. All right. This is one worth talking about. So we've got a basic with 70 HP, electric, plasma, 10 damage, and take a lightning energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your benched lightning Pokemon. Woo!
Yeah.
I like this.
I like it too. I was listening to some other streamers, and they were like, oh, it's like a way worse Manaphy. I mean, yes, in a certain way, right? It doesn't ramp 2 Pokemon on the bench at the same time, but it does have 20 more HP than Manaphy. So it has 90 with Cape, right? So in the end, like, let's assume your Manaphy dies in 1 turn and your Pachirisu like dies in 2, then you still end up running the total. You end up ramping the total amount of energy that is 2, right? So I actually like this card. I think it's gonna be paired great with Luxray. I think like Luxray, the new Pikachu. Maybe you can even try like the new Electivire that we had last pack or the pack before. Anyways, the one that like you guys know which one I'm talking about.
I think it goes well with Zapdos EX because it's only 3 lightning energy to potentially deal 200 damage there.
100%, yeah.
You mentioned what the streamers said. You didn't even mention this does 10 damage. Manaphy does 0. This turns on a Cyrus. It does some shit as well while ramping.
Yeah, that's really true. Good. That's a great point. Yeah, activating Cyrus is huge early in the game, right?
Yeah.
And also, let's say you're playing against a water deck, like this hits Manaphy for 30. This 2-shots Manaphy, right? So they can't actually lead with Manaphy into this, right? This gets you a point while doing the same job that Manaphy does against water decks that run Manaphy.
It's basically a 1-point Palkia. Yeah. Or sorry, a 1-point Dialga, I mean to say, because it's a baby metallic turbo, but it only gives up a point. Okay, a bit hyperbole there, but you know what I'm getting at, right? Like, it's.
I like
this
it.
card is great.
Yeah,
I love this, and I love these from a theoretical gameplay perspective, I love these little 10 damage attacks that come with an additional action. A cool one to touch back on would be Sigilith, I think it is actually,
Yes,
sorry.
Sigil
The
is cool.
psychic one that draws a card and deals 10. I'll tell you what, if Sigilith, if that ability said attach a psychic energy to one of your Pokemon rather than draw a card, I think it would see a lot more play.
I agree.
Because it's basically an extra turn by attaching an energy. So this is a sick card. It's got to see play somewhere. If electric, let's put it this way: if electric is good enough now to have a place in the meta, I'm sure this is in the list.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's still electric might still struggle against fighting, right? But for sure, I think it's gonna make a comeback, especially like in random games and ladder. I'm guessing people are gonna play a lot of trainer decks, Articuno or Palkia. So I think electric is gonna make a small comeback. I'd be surprised if they actually win a tournament, right? But I think it's gonna go from like completely dead to like you see it once in a while, which is already a win because I like electric. So,
so what do you think are the best old cards that go with this? I mean, like I mentioned, Zapdos EX. If you lead with Pachirisu, then you can actually, I guess this is kind of getting into wombo combo territory, but you can retreat this with an X speed and like Dawn that third energy onto Zapdos in like a turn 2.
That's
and then
true.
You can hit for 200.
Yeah, that's
true. That's insanely aggressive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things that can open up. It's also a basic, so it works with Sky Shaman too. So you don't,
Oh yeah.
You can use the Sky Shaman instead of the X speed, and everything in electric is gonna have like one retreat. Oh, the new Pikachu is a basic too, so Sky Shaman works on both Pachirisu and the new Pikachu. Luxray is 0 anyways, so yeah, I mean, I can definitely see some, so a lot of like mobility, a lot of energy movement for electric, as if it didn't have some already, but now it's going to be even better. So I'm excited.
Yeah, great cards, and love to see something like this enter the game.
Yep.
It's not too. Its ability is broken, but the card is not inherently broken by having a low HP and low damage attack. I love that.
Yep.
So, okay, Pachirisu, very, very nice. What else we got in electric? Pour Me, a basic with 60 HP, punch for 1 energy, does 20, 1 retreat, weak to fighting. Okay, pretty standard. Let's check out its evolution here. Pormo, stage 1 for 90 HP.
Yeah, I'm laughing because this is the first time I'm seeing this Pokemon line, and the art is just like so funny. It's just
It is.
It's a mix of like cute and like weird. So, anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're right. Yeah. So for 90 HP on this one, and you've got 2 electric for punch for 40. So that's a good curve out. Give me a second here. This light is going crazy over here.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time. Take your time. Yeah. So Ponmo, 90 HP, 40 for 2. It curves pretty well into from its stage 1. It still has 1 retreat. The fighting weakness is expected. So let's just go right into Palmont, 140, which resembles Magnezone, resembles a lot of other cards. The ability counterattack. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, do 20 damage to the attacking Pokemon. So basically a Drought effect, and it has Electric Punch for 2.
Damn, that's a lot of damage actually. I don't think I really paid attention to that.
Yeah, I mean it's 90 total for 2 damage. It is a stage 2 though, but I mean 90 for 2 is pretty respectable. Especially since you have 0 retreat, so you can retreat for free and don the energy onto something else once you're done with it. I mean, it's nice, but like we said earlier, I think the bar for 1 point stage 2s is set so high by both Magnezone and Rampardos. If your stage 2 non-EX Pokemon doesn't deal above 100 damage for 1 energy, it's just not going to compete with the EXs. That's just how it is. You need You need to be either like deal a shit ton of damage or be super energy efficient, or both actually. Now you need to do both, right? You have to compare to the Ramparduses or the Magnazones. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Still, the presence of counterattack here does make me think. Hopefully, we see that kind of effect on more cards, better cards in the future. But yeah, I mean, its rates are all really good. It's just a stick to do, right?
Yep.
So
Awesome.
yeah, honestly,
Perfect.
don't hate it, but I doubt it's going to see tournament play.
Yep.
So
All
all
right.
right, psychic.
Psychic. All right. Do you think we should just like a little 30-second break? I'm just gonna grab a water because my mouth
Good
is
idea.
starting. Perfect. We'll do a 30-second break, chat. We'll go to the washroom, grab some water, and we will be right back. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 types to go over. Lots of hype. We haven't covered some other great cards, or maybe not great, maybe controversial like Giratina. So I'll catch you guys in 30 seconds.
See you in a bit, everyone.
All right. See you guys in a bit. Let me just put in my BRB. Let's just put in the BRB. It's a media file. Okay. Sorry about that. I'll put the BRB screen and we'll get right to it. All right. Catch you guys in just a bit. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate all of you. We'll be right back.
What's going on, everyone? Hope you're enjoying the set review so far. Definitely some tasty new cards in Shining Revelry. We got any favorites so far that we've gone over? Any shouts for best card? I definitely think, was it Wotrio? That one's got mad potential.
All right, we're back, gang. Let's get right to it. All right, let's jump right back into it. So we have Abra, the 60 HP, 20 damage, basic stuff, dark weakness, 1 retreat. I just want to point out the pose. Look at the pose that he's striking. He's like looking.
Wow.
He's like looking down on you. He squared up with you and he won.
I'll tell you what, that was a popular dance move back when Usher came out with Yeah.
I agree. So I mean, they finally gave Abra an attack, right?
Is that better though than being able to retreat for free? I mean, for free you invest in energy, but it's kind of nice to be able to shuffle your card back to the bench, isn't it? Is that better?
It really is. I mean, it depends what you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to curve in the active, then it is better. But if you want to play the genetic apex, Alakazam, I think Alakazam is a very good like revenge killer, but it's not the best lead, right? Because it has very low HP, and his damage depends on what your opponent puts up, right? So he's a great revenge killer. The genetic apex Alakazam, of course, is a great revenge killer. So it depends what you want to do. I think it's nice that they gave us both options. So
yeah, I really like that. I think again we've seen. Let's go back to when I said, why are they giving us like another Voltorb Electrode? I don't think that Voltorb adds anything, does it?
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
But this gives us an alternative. I love that.
Yep.
I want to see more of that. If you're going to introduce new basics, give us a little something else.
I agree. Yep.
So
Let's
yeah,
sorry,
let's
yeah, go
check
ahead.
it out.
Let's check Kadabra. Yeah, so stage 1, 80 HP. Side shot for 30, so it curves really well into the other Abra, right? If you're going first, you get to evolve it, attack for one energy. Same dark weakness, same one retreat. 80 HP is pretty standard for stage 1. So
Probably an
yeah,
upgrade. Yeah, probably an upgrade over the other Kadabra we got.
I think so. The other one, if I'm not mistaken, had a 3 energy attack. Let me put it up.
I think it also had a 2 retreat cost.
It had 3 energy, but 1 retreat. Yeah. But same
Okay.
HP 80, but still like 3 energies was just too much. I think this one is definitely an upgrade for sure.
Yeah, very nice. All right, what's the payoff then?
So the payoff, this is what you're building towards. Alakazam, 130 HP, still as much as the genetic Apex Alakazam, so no change there. Same weakness, I think same retreat too, if I'm not mistaken. Psychic Suppression, 2 energies for 80. This attack also does 20 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has energy attached. So it doesn't deal 20 like splash the way Articuno or
No.
Palkia does.
I don't love that because you can play around this card.
Mhm.
If they're evolving it toward this and you know their deck list, then
Yeah.
you can really commit your energies in a way that's going to protect your bench Pokemon. Basically, any effect that gives your opponent a choice
Yeah.
is typically bad,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And this does give them a choice. It allows them to play around its effect. Now, 80 for 2, all right, fair play, but I think I might prefer the Psychic Alakazam that just can deal such large amounts of damage, and there are a lot of Pokemon still that they really want to load up on energy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I kind of like these new artwork lines that we got for these cards, though. They're really interesting.
Yeah, I like the R2, and I think the closest comparison would be to the Gengar that we got last pack in Triumphant Light. You know, the Gengar that is a stage 2 for 2 energy, sleeps and does 70. So this one is kind of like another version. I think they're really trying to like, you know, like have Psychic have like an aggro version, right? They gave us Miss Magius, they gave us the new
definitely.
Gengar. They're trying to push like aggro Psychic, right, a little bit. But the prevalence of Dark type is just ruining it all, right? Like you're just taking too much damage from Darkrai and Weavile to be able to play these cards. The prevalence also of Arceus kind of ruins the old Gengar. At least this Alakazam can activate Cyrus. So and shout out from the chat. GA Alakazam retreat cost is 2, so good shout. So you can at least retreat this one and bring it back later.
That's part of the aggro element you mentioned, right?
That's
aggro
right,
decks want to be swapping in and out of their best attackers for the moment. Yeah, I've seen worse.
Yeah,
and I've
sure.
seen better. And I think that's where I land on this card ultimately.
Yeah.
So
all right, let's see what's next. Mr. Mime. Did we get a Mr. Mime in Genetic Apex? We did. I think we did.
Juggling,
yeah. Oh man, with the hands spread. Oh geez. Okay. All right, devs. All right. So 2 energies, 20 times 4 coins. This attack does 20 damage for each heads. So you can reach a max of 80 for 2 energy on a basic. I mean, it's all right. Like it resembles the Pinsir from Genetic Apex. That, if I remember correctly, it was 40 and like 40 per coin, and you flip 2 coins. So this is kind of the same amount of damage. Pinsir, I remember, had like 80. This one has 90. It's okay. It's all right. I like the art.
I'm not big. I'll reference something I said in our first set review, and I'll repeat it. And I'll repeat it again and again. Basics with a 2 energy attack really aren't great.
Yeah.
Like, you really want to get your basic out and have it be doing something immediately.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point. And these coin flip attacks are so iffy, aren't they? So
yeah. They're definitely not shying away from the coin flip mechanics. They definitely stayed pack after pack. that this is a mechanic that they want to keep in the game. They want people to have a chance, to win a game, despite like, bad odds.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, if you're playing Pocket and you're mad about the coin flips, I think that's on you, my friend. Like, you got to
Yeah, I
play.
was gonna say,
Yeah,
like,
you got to play chess instead. Like, you're playing the wrong game if you get mad at the coin flips. It's just part of the game, so you have to get used to it.
and there are still plenty of ways to build a deck that doesn't need to rely on its coin flips. Look, perfect example is one of the best decks of last format, Origin Form Palkia. You could easily win flipping flipping tails on both your Misties and
Mhm.
continuously flipping tails off the Origin Form Palkia.
That's right.
So
That's right.
there's ways to mitigate that bad luck with
Yep.
deck building, with the cards you put into play at the right time. Yeah, but obviously Mr. Mime, even when it flips 4 heads, is nothing to really get too excited about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
well, let's see if this next card is something worth getting excited about.
So Drifloon.
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, pretty cookie cutter. 60 HP, 1 energy, ram for 20, psychic type, dark weakness, 1 retreat. Pretty standard stuff.
What's next?
What's next? Drift Blim, 90, gust for 40.
That's not bad for a stage 1.
Yeah, not bad for a stage 1. 0 retreat as well, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It's definitely once again they're trying to push psychic aggro somehow, but it's just I don't think it's gonna I don't know I don't think it's gonna work. But it's a great card for like newer players that want to go through like the solo missions. Like you just go aggro with this, and yeah, that's about it.
They're good in the when you that 1, 2, 3 diamond only challenge.
That's right.
This is where you kind of throw cards like this in. You're like, yeah, I'll just own you.
Yeah.
All right. We're moving on from this because we have probably a good chunk to talk about with this utter beast. You want to read this one out for us?
Yes, sir. So here it is. Probably the most controversial card of the new expansion. Everybody has like a different opinion on it.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't like the opinions don't even like follow each other. Like they're like this, like opposite poles. People are like, this is like an amazing card. It's gonna have its own meta like shaped around it. And then the other one's like, this is like the worst piece of trash I've ever seen in my life. Right? So people are like getting really heated on this subject. Let's read it out. So Giratina EX, 150 HP, ability Broken Space Bellow. Once during your turn, you may take up psychic energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. So once again, we learned that you don't actually need to run psychic energy to like use the ability. The same way Magneton works, right? You can run other energies, not psychic. If you use this ability, your turn ends. So this has to be your last action of the turn. Chaotic Impact for 4 energies, 3 psychic, 1 colorless, 130 damage, which is respectable for a basic, right? It's an Arceus with a full bench, right?
It's brilliant, yeah.
There you go. It's Arceus with a full bench, but it does have a small drawdown. This Pokemon also does 20 to itself. And it has Dark Weakness, which is standard. 2 retreat makes sense for a basic EX. I'll let you go first, and then yeah.
So here's what I think. If you've called this card trash at any point, I think you're gonna be sorely disproven very quickly. Again, being able to ramp energy is very good. Now, I get it. You got to end your turn, right? But how many times have we seen decks take advantage of not attacking on their turn? There are plenty of things you can still do in a turn. Play a supporter, play an item, drop Pokemon on the bench, evolve. It's a great card. And now, let me mention this. The drawback is actually very, very significant. Dropping to 130 HP is a dangerous spot to be in these days. And I think that's something we need to talk about here. Now, what can get over that? I think the overall synergy of this card with other cards like Darkrai and Druddigon and even the basic Giratina is a great example.
Mm-hmm.
This is a card, you're going to sit behind a wall like Druddigon that has a helmet on it, and you're just going to bring this in when the time is right. If this doesn't see play, I'll be gobsmacked. What do you think, MST? Agree, disagree? Where do you land on the spectrum with this one?
I'm leaning towards, I think it's a good card. I don't think it's gonna break the meta or like, be like an inclusion in a lot of decks. I think you definitely have to build the deck around it, right? You have to build a deck around this ability, right? So you pick cards like Darkrai that, you don't actually attack with Darkrai until turn 3, right? You attach the energy, it chips, but you don't attack that turn, right? So that would be a strategy, Drud, Darkrai, Giratina, other stall decks, so if you're placing a Drud, you want to play Golem, right? With like Brock, well, you can still drop this and like have it do stuff. By the time you get all your energy on the Golem and stuff. I guess what I would compare it to is a Magnezone, right? In the sense that in some way it's like a basic Magnezone that has more drawdowns, of course, because it's a basic, right? Like Magnezone, you still have to draw into all the line. This one, you can start with it, and then it starts ramping energy as soon as you drop it. Of course, it has to have a drawdown, right? Like it would be too good if like you would just charge itself and you can still attack at the same turn. So you do have to build a deck around it. But I don't think it's as bad as people think. Like you said, like you can do a lot of things in the same turn that aren't attacking. I guess, I thought about like other than Darkrai, it's a bit tough to find like other matching pairs that could work with it.
Right.
I thought about Moltres, but Moltres Inferno Dance is an attack, so that doesn't work. Manaphy. Sorry?
Magnezone goes good with it. I mean,
sure. Yeah, you can run both, and depending on what you put in the active, right? But I think you definitely have to build a deck around it. People in the chat are saying Cresselia EX, right? Cresselia EX obviously heals itself when you attach energy, so you can play. Yeah, that's right. You can stall with Cresselia in the active, maybe this one. Yeah,
let's bring that up. This card is an absolute beast with Dawn. I mean, let's look at Mewtwo X real quick as an example. In terms of, with Gardevoir, you had to get lucky to hit your Gardevoir and start attaching that energy. With Giratina X and Dawn, you can start using Psy Drive so quickly. And here's the thing. This can go in any deck. That needs to be crucial when you analyze this card.
Yes.
This is not a psychic card. Yep. This can go in any deck. Secondly, 130 is a lot of damage. And finally, this card gives you a choice, okay? And it's going to reward good play. You do not have to use Broken Space Bellow. It's almost like people think, wow, I every turn I can't attack because I'm going to end my turn and attach a psychic energy. No, you can attach a regular energy to this thing and then attack anyway.
Yeah.
And then turns where attacking isn't relevant, or you have a Druddigon, you can just, then you can use Broken Space Bellow. You have choices, and choices are good inherently.
Yeah.
If you make the right one, obviously. And that's why I think it rewards good play. It rewards good deck building. I get it. I get why some people look at this and think, oh, that's such a drawback, but it's not. Yeah. You build the deck to take advantage of Broken Space Bellow.
Yeah.
So, yes. Divisive. About as divisive as that dress that people thought was either blue or
I remember
silver.
that. Yeah.
But, it's I think if you're looking at this card and you're only examining the downsides and not the potential of an X that just builds itself up casually on the bench while Dragon is doing chip damage, while Greninja's hitting for 20, while Darkrai is building up, it's doing its chip damage and building up to do its Dark Prism, I believe it's called, attack. You got to get those deck building juices, flowing. Because this is a card. It's a huge card, and it's gonna see play. Calling it now.
I agree. I definitely think it's not as bad as people think, I have two issues with it though. And my
What's that?
my first issue is that it requires 3 psychic, 1 colorless. And you know
Hmm.
why that's an issue? Is because let's say you're going first with Darkrai, right? You drop the Giratina, you load 1 psychic, right? And then next turn you put 1 on the Darkrai, a second on the Giratina, and then like a second on the Darkrai, and then third on the Giratina. That's all good. But if you're going second, right? If you're going second, then you might be in a position where you don't have 3 psychic energies on it. You only have 2, right? And you need that third psychic energy to attack. So you needed 1 more turn, and that could be like a game changer, right? If it was 2 psychic, 2 colorless, right? It would be like it would give you much more flexibility, right? Into like replacing other type energy, right? And running this in other type decks, right? I think the 3 psychic, 1 colorless, like it still allows you to add it in a lot of different decks, but it is very restrictive. It would be quite better if it was 2-2. And my other, I forgot what my other issue is, but I'll probably remember it by next week. Yeah, but yeah, that's my
Look,
main
I agree
issue.
with what you said, but again, you're presenting a scenario where you do have a choice,
Yeah,
right? You don't have like even if this thing gets 2 psychic energies on it and then you start attacking, it's still really close to getting to that point where it can start using chaotic impact. It's
that's
not
true.
like you're still miles away
Yeah,
from being able to chaotic impact.
yeah. Oh yeah, and my second point, yeah, my
Okay.
second issue is, of course, it's an EX, right? So let's say,
Yes, true.
yeah, if you
Mhm.
have a Drud, assuming you have a Drud, you lose the Drud, right? In the Darkrai Magnezone deck, you lose the Drud, you bring in Magnezone, and then it dies, and then you bring in Darkrai, right? In the Darkrai Giratina Drud, well, if you bring up the Giratina and it dies, you lose the game, right? So like the fact that it's an EX, like yes, being a basic is nice. I 100% agree. You get more room for supporters. You draw it with Pokeball. You don't need to search for Magneton or Magnezone. But the moment you bring this up, it does damage to itself, so it becomes a Cyrus target even before you get retaliated,
It's
right?
spongy. Yes, it's spongy as well at only 150 HP and dealing 20, putting it to 130. Now, you need, when you're playing this card, you're playing toward a board state where chaotic impact ends the game. If
Yeah,
you're not doing that, then you're probably not playing the card to its optimal value. I just think, for all its downsides, we're looking at a card that powers itself, that free energy is a big deal, and it's a card that, as more good walls like Druddigon are printed, which is an inevitability,
mm,
the stocks for Giratina EX continue to rise, right? So, I don't know. I just can't see a world where this doesn't slot into something, especially because it's essentially colorless.
yeah,
Although I do agree that the 3 psychic is steep.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's
people are
so
gonna,
divisive,
yeah,
and that is what I love. And I always feel like cards that are divisive do end up being good in every trading card game that
yeah.
I played before.
I mean,
So,
we all remember Gyarados, right? Like
mhm.
we remember like Mythical Island, and then the moment Gyarados came out, everybody was like, look at me, I pulled this garbage EX," and then like it ends up sweeping the first week, right? So, yeah, I think it's a great card because it rewards like good deck building, and it's not just like add energy attack, right? You have to think,
Exactly.
yeah. So yeah.
Let's take a quick flashback. In our second episode of our podcast, which I believe we both have messages pinned right now. If you want to go check that out on
Mm.
Spotify, um, give us a listen, give us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. There's tons of really good, insightful stuff in there. One of those things I'm going to bring up is we called Snorlax trash in our set review in episode 1. And in episode 2, we revisited some of the cards that we missed, didn't we?
Yeah.
One of the things that we both learned in that moment was that if you build a deck to take advantage of Snorlax, which Magnezone does, because you can actually invest all your precious energy into Snorlax. Since Magnezone doesn't actually need any energy itself, you can take advantage of it having such an expensive attack.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a deck for this out there, I'm telling you. It just needs to be built.
Yeah.
So
excited to see it. Yeah, let's wrap the psychic type. We have one more. Gimmighoul, 60 HP, Chestouflage for a colorless. You can run this. I mean, it is notable that its evolution is another type, if I'm not mistaken. So this is why it's colorless. Yeah. Flip a coin. If heads, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. So it's basically like a barrier effect, kind of like Shinx.
Yeah. Shinx, same effect. Yeah. I mean, we can touch back on this card in the context of its evolution when we get there. But one thing I do want to say is that evolution, a big part of it is going to be ramping. And when you don't have Dialga, which is the best card to go with it, Gimmighoul in the lead actually isn't that bad because of Large. So we will double back on that, but keep that comment in mind. Okay?
Perfect. So, all right. So let's move on to fighting.
Fighting
type.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, fighting type had a huge glow up. It had a huge glow up this past expansion, and it did it without too many new cards. Like Rampardos was not a new card. Lucario was not a new card. Like a lot of the cards were from Space Time Smackdown and earlier. So
I'll read this one out. Okay. So we got a basic Machop, 60 HP for one fighting, low kick, deals 20, weak to psychic, pretty standard there, and a retreat cost of 1.
Yeah.
So, do you want to just quickly bring up some of the old Machops and maybe we can sort of compare them in context to their predecessors?
That's right. So the old Machop had 10 more HP at 70. It did the same damage, 20 for 1 energy, same weakness, psychic, but it had 2 retreat costs.
Okay.
So I think the new Machop is better. It depends, right? Like if you run into like a Drifloon that does 40 and then hits you for weakness on 60, like okay, but how often does that happen? Like you're not gonna run into like psychic aggro. Like
no, I think this one probably so wait, the other one is the exact same? Is it a 1 energy attack? I thought it was a 2
No, it's the exact same. It has 1 energy for 20. It has 10 more HP and 1 more retreat cost, but everything else is the same.
Interesting. I mean, maybe this one is better because ultimately you're evolving into Machoke, and at that point, the max HP from the basic has become irrelevant.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well, let's see it. Let's see.
Machoke. So stage 1 with 100 HP. For 2 fighting energy, you can pummel, so it does 30. Flip a coin, and if heads, it does 30 more damage. Now, we've got a retreat cost of 2 here, and of course, psychic weakness. How does this compare to its counterpart?
So, same HP, 2 energies is the same. The other Machoke dealt 50. Let me check if it's the same retreat cost real quick. Machoke. It is the same retreat cost, so the only difference really is the damage and the effect. So pummel for 30, flip a coin, if heads this attack does 30 more damage. So that's 60, so that's an average of 45, which is actually less than the 50 from the other.
So the other one does 50 for 2, right?
Yeah. So I think you can maybe play the new Machop and then actually use the old Machoke.
Yeah.
Let's see what the payoff.
We've got Machamp here, the stage 2. So this one's got 150 HP. 2 fighting energy again. Kind of nice you don't actually need to invest another energy into this once you've got Machoke going. Pout Press, 70 damage. If this Pokemon has at least 2 extra fighting energy attached, this attack does 50 more damage. So we're looking at 70 up to 120. Is this better than the EX, or are we looking at something bad here?
I don't think so. If you take out the old version, which is Seismic Toss, 100 for 3, and you compare it with this one, right? Like the average damage. I mean, if you go up to 4 energies, you're at 120, but it's only 20 more than the non-EX, and it's the same as the EX. I don't think you play this card. If you want to run
No.
Machoke, you run Machoke EX, and you use these ones. I'm not sure once again why they reprinted the full line.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess they want to keep like other generations for future releases, since they gave us shinies this time. They want to keep like new generations as novelty for future packs, is my guess.
So we can move on from this card, but one thing I'll quickly note before that is the fighting decks in their current form are pretty nice in that you don't need to invest too much energy into each Pokemon before it gets cooking. So this is a place to put additional energy in the later turns of the game. But I just think you have so many good closers. You know what I mean by that? In the deck, like Rampados, that you almost don't even have the time to invest energy, deep amounts of energy, because you've won the game before
That's
you reach
right,
that
yeah.
point. So
Let's see.
more pack filler.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that. So let's check out this next card. Is this pack filler? Hitmonlee, 80 HP, fighting, kick, 30 damage, 1 retreat, and weak to psychic. Sorry, how much HP does Hitmonchan have again? Is it 70 or 80?
No,
Is this
it
just
has
a
80. It has 80.
So it's a Hitmonchan reprint.
Pretty much, yeah. I was waiting for you to say it, but yeah, it is a Hitmonchan reprint. They took the card, they just pasted a new image. The image looks nice. I like the pose is pretty sick. He's definitely like styling on us. But yeah, I mean,
His legs look like ropes.
that's true. Yeah, yeah. It's a cool card. Yeah.
We've got art haters in the chat. Art haters have emerged, dissing this card.
I mean, I think it's like I think the art is like a personal preference. Yeah. I mean, I like this Hitmonlee, but I hate the immersive Giratina, and I'm sure people love the immersive Giratina, but they hate this, right? So yeah. But I feel like the art this pack is much more divisive than it was previous packs, though. Like previous packs, everybody agreed like Rainbow Infernape was sick, like everybody kind of like agreed on the same things. But this art, since it's more like handmade rather than like computer generated, it's definitely a bit more divisive.
Well, end of the day, Hitmonchan was a good card and saw play, and being able to kill 50 HP basics with a Lucario active is nice. So yeah, I mean, he's just another option. Could it have been slightly different? And the reason I brought that up when I brought up the card art was I actually thought Hitmonchan might have had 70 HP, and that this was a strict upgrade to Hitmonchan. But no, we get
more of the same.
It makes sense they mirror each other, right? So
they do.
Cool.
They do. It's true. Yeah.
All right, let's check out the next one. We've got Hitmonchan number 2. So 90 HP. Oh, wow. I'm already disgusted. 3 fighting energy on a basic to do an attack. It's Magnum Punch for 90. Retreat cost is 1, weak to psychic. Am I correct in saying that is way too much energy for a basic? I mean, 90 damage is good, but...
Yeah. I mean, 3 energies, you're never going to put that much energies on this.
So, yeah, what is the point?
Yeah, what's the point? Like, it's gonna die. It's gonna die before you actually add that many energies. At 90 HP, it's gonna get 2-shot by pretty much everything. So, yeah, it's okay. But yeah, it's all right. Let's see.
Moving on.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm glad we agree here.
Yeah.
What is good? But okay, cool.
Yep.
So, all right, this is our second Riolu chat. We have obviously seen how powerful Riolu and Lucario were before. I'm excited to check out these new versions.
Yep.
So this one's got 70 HP. The last one had 60. It's got a 2 energy, 2 fighting specifically, punch for 40. Everything else is the same other than the HP and the attack. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, do you think 10 more HP is worth not being able to attack with jab?
No, not at all.
No,
you need
same.
the meta is so fast now that if you skip one turn of not doing anything, like your turbo cook. Like the 20 damage can win you the game 6 turns later when you draw the Cyrus,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So like
That comes up all the time.
yeah,
Like, it is so relevant.
yeah,
And again, I hate sounding like a broken record, but 2 energy attacks on basics are not good. When you see that, it should be a red flag immediately. You want to
yep.
be able to do something immediately with your basic Pokemon. So
Yeah, I agree. Just giving a quick shout out. Yeah, I like the art. The art is really cute, but there's definitely no comparison to the old Riolu. So let's see what the new Lucarios look like.
welcome in, Raiders, by the way. For everyone joining, I'm Roxas, aka Alex on Pocket, and I'm here with MST, of course. We're doing our second ever set review. We did one for Triumphant Light, which you can check out on Spotify. Our podcast is live there. And we have another episode, a second episode. So if you want more Pocket content, if you want to hear 2 successful tournament players chatting about the game, chatting about game theory, reviewing cards, reviewing the meta, please take a moment to check out our Spotify podcast. It'd mean a lot to both of us. So, yeah, just doing a little plug there with the Raiders coming in.
Yes, sir. So thank you, Raiders. Shout out to Alonzo. Make sure to drop him a follow, everybody, if you haven't already. Big love. Thank you, and welcome. We're quite a way through, but we still got a couple of cards left to go. So right on time, right on time.
Here is the next one. Get hyped, everyone. And I'm glad, I'm going to be excited to talk about whether this is better than the other one with you. Lucario EX, 150 HP for 3 fighting energy. That's right, no colorless involved. Aura Sphere, 100 damage. This attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Retreat cost 2, weak to Psychic. Is this dethroning the Lucario we currently play that has an extremely powerful and relevant effect when it comes to breakpoints? What do you think? Initial reaction, do you think this is good enough?
I'll be honest, I don't think so. Like I was kind of, when I saw this card, I was like, maybe they're giving us like a focus punch Riolu. So like something that ramps energy, but they didn't, right? So fighting, there's no card other than Brock in fighting decks that give you more energy other than what you're manually putting, right? So every single energy in fighting decks like is super crucial, right? Like every single turn you have to like think very well about like where you're gonna put your energy to not waste it. 3 energy for 100. It feels like, yes, it's a stage 1, which is nice, but 100 damage just doesn't feel like it's enough. Yes, it chips the bench, but like if you compare it to maybe Garchomp EX, which is a stage 2, it does have a 3 energy 100 damage attack, but the real strength of Garchomp is the 1 energy for 50, right? Or 70 or 90, depending if you run Lucario with it. So I'll be honest, it feels like too much of an energy investment.
It doesn't curve out of Riolu well.
It doesn't at all. Yeah, like
I mean, if okay, let me throw this out there too. Yeah, if this was 2 energy and it did 70, but still did 30 to the bench, then would you think, maybe?
Oh, if it was 2 energy,
into it.
Yeah, if it was 2 energy, this card I would definitely play this card. Like maybe one EX and maybe double standard, right? And you get to pick and choose depending on which one you need. If you want, you can even like run a grandma, right? Like I forgot the actual name of the card, but like the granny, you run the granny to get a third Riolu back, right? If you want to run like double base Lucario with this guy. But in the state that it is now, like with with still no other energy ramp other than Brock for fighting, I don't think there's room. Like you don't want this over like the standard Lucario that increases your Rampardo's damage. It increases your Hitmonchan damage to take out mana fees. yeah, there's just no
Yeah,
room. You have to like
yeah.
you would have to build an entire deck around this card, and I don't think doing that is better than building your entire deck around Rampardos, which is I think a much more efficient card. So.
I'm not going to lie, I really think adding 20 passive damage to all of your future attacks is just so good.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a beautiful little ability. And you'd have to print a hell of a Lucario to dethrone the current one. Because how many times we've both played that deck and we both know how many times are you just like, if I communication into my Lucario, I win this turn.
100%.
You
Yeah.
lose that
Yeah.
when you play this card.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
yeah. I mean, the everybody that tuned in last Sunday, they saw it live, right? I think we would have dropped out in like top 8 or top 16 if we didn't like we calms the Lucario for the clutch at the very end. So
yeah.
I mean, yeah, this one just doesn't have the same impact. The beauty with the fighting coach Lucario once again is that you don't need to put any energy on it, right? Because
Yeah.
energy is so scarce for fighting, and the fact that it gives you a buff without any energy on it is huge. This one, like, you have to sink energy into it. That means your energy isn't going to Mars Shadow. It's not going to pseudo, right? All that stuff, right? So yeah, I mean, I'll try it out, like, for sure. If I pull it, I'll try it.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
there could be a fighting deck that ultimately emerges where this is a good card, but I don't think it's going to be a similar deck to the one that's currently extremely powerful and
yeah,
popular.
yeah,
That's my take there. So,
yeah. So let's
before we
see.
move to the next card,
We
let
got
me just
one
answer
more.
a question here from the chat. I have a question for you. When you watch a streamer on playing Pocket, what do you expect to find? Well, I mean, first, insightful, high-level gameplay. That is one thing that drew me to MST's stream in the beginning, back when
Appreciate
we
you.
both had like 2-3 viewers each, you know, back at the beginning. We used to chat about really cool theoretical stuff, and that's why we ended up, in the chat. That's kind of what made us start doing this podcast. Secondly, from a production standpoint, and like, from most streams I've watched, not to toot our own horns, I think MST and I have the cleanest, easily looking streams. Now, it is kind of hard with Pocket because it's an awkward app to put into a stream when it basically takes up a third of the screen. But production quality matters to me, and I think to everyone, subtly, even if you don't actually think about it, a blurry, annoying stream is gonna just turn you off naturally when you tune in.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Moon Player Pro, they have it. Like, it looks way cleaner than BlueStacks, but obviously it costs money. But the quality is so much better. So, anyway, just thought I'd answer that. Cool question there. Interesting question, definitely.
So I think was I doing? I think I was doing the fightings, right? So we got one more.
I was, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead. I forgot. Who was doing it.
Yeah. So we got one more. Flamigo. Chilling with my amigo doing a set review. And here comes Flamigo. 80 HP for 2 fighting energy. You've got double kick, so it's 50 damage. Flip 2 coins. This attack does 50 for each head. So, okay, another coin flip card.
Yeah.
This is whatever to me.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a 50 average damage for 2 is just not enough. And I mean, this, I don't know. I feels like even as a Pokemon, it's a bit like uninspired. They literally took out an N from the name, and it looks exactly like a real world animal. They just took out one letter, and there you go, guys. Here's your Pokemon.
It's ferret all over again, which is literally a ferret.
Exactly. Like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm not gonna be too happy to pull this. I'll be honest with you. Right? It does feel a bit like filler, but I get it, right? You can't pull all the shinies in the first pack. That's not how it works. Okay, you got to get some Flamigos on the way to your shinies. That's how it works. So, okay, let's move on to the next type. the dark
Dark.
type.
Ooh. All right. You want to read out Ekans?
Yes, sir. So first one, Ekans, two energy, one dark, one colorless, 30 damage, so 10 more than the other Ekans, which was one dark for 20. Fighting
Mm-hmm.
weakness, they both have that, and one retreat cost is the same. Yeah, I mean, once again, like two energy basics is just not the way. It's just way too slow.
Yeah. Well, let's check out Arbok.
Yep, Arbok 110. I think is this the same? I think it's the same as the old Arbok. Maybe the old
Yeah.
Arbok was 100. I think. Let me just check. Yeah, old Arbok was 100. So maybe 10
100.
more, 10 more HP, three energies. For Venomous Fang, your opponent is now poison. I
Deal 70.
Yeah, it's not. It's just
This.
not enough. The effect is nice, but I like Corner much better. Corner was a much more unique effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
I
agree
guess
with you. I think Corner is just not only is it like you said a unique effect, it's a powerful one and an
Yep.
enormous one and one that really can't be played around
Yep.
either. So, yeah.
Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see what's next. So here we have a much more interesting card. There's Paldean Wooper, 50 HP, which is a little bit on the low side,
Yeah.
considering it also has fighting weakness. So this gets hit by Hitmonchan even without Lucario. And if there is a Lucario, it's gonna get one hit for sure, even with the cape. Poison Jab, one energy for 10. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poison. I love to see basics that set up their stage 1 and stage 2s. So this is a welcome sight.
As well
Ve-
as basics, I mentioned this earlier with Pachirisu and I compared it to Sigilyph, like basics that do something additional
yeah,
with their attack are really I wouldn't call them tech cards. That's a stretch, but like these are cards that can really build up the power of your deck
yeah.
while just doing what you were going to do anyway. I love this card. I mean, it had to. This card had to poison for its evolution
Yeah,
to work properly. So let's check that one out.
yeah. Yeah, somebody in the chat says best art of the new set. I like it. I like the colors, the brown and the purple for the poison. And here we are. It's evolution. Clodsire EX. If you love the colors on the last one, this one is right up your alley. 160 HP, dark type, stage 1 from
Whew!
Wooper. Quite a lot
A lot
of
of
HP
HP.
for stage 1. Yeah, this is Executor EX level.
Yeah, freaking
Yeah,
out.
it's like, is it Probo pass level? Let me just bring up Probo. Probo is 162, so yeah, this is kind of as high as we go for stage 1. So super beefy EX, especially with a cape up to 180. Venoshock for 2 energy, so curves perfectly from
Brilliant
Wooper.
curve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Venosh 60, and if your opponent's active Pokemon is poison, this does 60 more damage. So a Scolipede-like effect. Fighting weakness, 3 retreat is a bit much, so you kind of have to commit. You don't really retreat with this guy. You just go full aggro. What do you think?
I mean, I think if there's any card that isn't a supporter in this set, I'm most excited to play with. It's Clodsire. The power level of this card is really absurd.
It is.
And a lot of that comes from its HP. That's a tanky stage 1. Now, let's compare it to Executor, which did 40 or 80. This is doing 60 up to 120? Are you kidding me? Like, if you go second and you have Wooper in the opening spot, you've done 10, then you've done 10 poison, then you've done another 10 poison, so that's 30 already, and then you evolve into this and you hit for another 120, plus another 10 at the end of that turn? That's 160 damage by turn 4.
Yep. It's
That's
yeah.
absurd.
It is absurd, really, when you think about it. That's like you 2-shot the Dialga, right? Maybe even before, if you're going second, you 2-shot the Dialga even before it gets a second energy on it, right? That's like pretty crazy. I mean, yes, there's Cape. Yes, there's the new trainer that we're gonna get to later. But the just the damage output is insane.
I mean, it's
obviously,
160 by the end of your first attack with it,
yeah,
you know, but it's also 170 by the end of their turn. So even with Cape, a lot of things are cooked.
I
I mean, it's
100%, yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Crazy. It really is.
Yeah, it's I mean, obviously, the damage is not consequential, but it relies on, your opponent keeping the active Pokemon that's poisoned in the active slot and not clearing the
Yeah.
poison with everything else. So there is like a criteria that's like attached to it, right? It's not like free. Your opponent can play around it a little bit, but truly this applies so much pressure on the active. Like if he retreats that turn, that means he's spending a leaf. He's either discarding energy to clear the poison, or he's just gonna give away whatever's in the active in hopes that whatever he's building after can clear this chunky boy. So yeah, I mean, obviously in an Arceus meta, once you kill the Dialga, how do you deal with Arceus, right? Like you're gonna hit Arceus for
Yes.
60 and then 60 again. Like he's
I
gonna
wanted
kill
to
you in
build,
that. Yeah.
I wanted to build excitement and hype there by expressing how much damage it did, but the truth is, once they clear the poison,
Yeah.
you're kind of in an awkward spot because it's not like Clodsire itself has any way to reapply that poison. You've relied on the Wooper, right,
Yeah.
to do that. Now, obviously, you could say, yeah, well, that'll go great with Wheezing. Don't disagree. That's probably the de facto way, Gas Leak, to apply the poison effect. So if you're really leaning into that synergy, they naturally seem to go together pretty well. Poisoning, then using Koga and throwing this out to immediately do 120 seems very powerful. But yeah,
Yeah.
once they click poison, I wanted to express how powerful it could be in a vacuum with the amount of damage it can do, but let's not pretend that Arceus resists poison, that now we haven't gotten there yet, but the new healing card supporter from this set actually clears out status effects.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be really crucial as well as a counterplay.
Yep.
If this card rises to prominence.
That's right.
But it's hard to see this not seeing some kind of play, at least in the early stages of the format.
Yeah, I agree. It's a super aggressive card. It applies so much pressure, but it needs a follow up, right? It needs. I'm not quite sure what that follow up is yet, right? Like, is it a Darkrai? Is it, I don't know, like Arceus Crobat maybe? I'm trying to think here. Like, what's the follow up to this?
Pokemon slots though you've committed to your deck, right?
That's true, yeah.
I feel like it has to be Wheezing, or how about we move on here because there's another card in this set
card, yeah.
might go well with this one. Was there anything else you wanted to say about it before we do that?
No, it's fine. I think we can skip Spiritomb and come back to it just so that we can finish what we were saying for the poison, right? So there's Shroodle, right? 60 HP, 20 attack for Dark. This is pretty basic stuff, but it evolves into Graphite, which could be a helpful pairing into Clodsire because of its active ability, Poison Coating, which is an ability you can activate from anywhere on the field. Once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active is now poison. So this applies. It's a similar to Hypno, but obviously poison doesn't clear itself the way sleep does, right? Poison lingers until your opponent retreats or uses something that clears it. So yeah, but at the same time, right, you're giving up 4 deck slots in your deck to have this ability, which is useless against Arceus, right?
I prefer Wheezing personally, just because it has the Koga synergy, and we know how good that is, right? Like I said, just triggering Gas Leak and then Kogaing out your active Clodsire, deal 120 immediately. That's 130 in one turn, right?
Yeah.
This has to flip a coin to poison. Wheezing doesn't. And Wheezing can do 30 with Tackle for 1 energy. This needs 2 energy investment just to do 1 more.
That's true.
I'm on Team Wheezing, right?
I agree. I definitely agree with Wheezing. I'm just thinking, like, we still need a sweeper in that deck, right? We need we need big damage,
Darkrai maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. So somebody's gonna have to get creative with it for sure.
I mean,
So
Darkrai's not a bad shout because you don't have to invest much energy into Clodsire, and you only ever going to
yeah,
ever invest one into Wheezing.
yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, we'll have
yeah.
to see.
Should we look at Spiritomb?
That's right. The last card of the Dark type, 80 HP, new Spiritomb, Confuse Ray. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's Pokemon is now confused. So I guess we can compare it to Miss Drevis, the promo. Miss Drevis only has 50 HP. This has 80. Miss Drevis applies confusion without a coin flip, but doesn't deal any damage. This deals 20 and applies confusion. I like confusion as an effect. I think it's really useful against Dialga. It's really useful
Yeah.
against Moltres. All the basics that like want to ramp energy by attacking, confusion really hurts them. But the problem is the Dialga usually has somebody in the back that is immune to confusion. So yeah,
right.
there you go.
I mean, cool cards. Obviously, Mischievous has the advantage of evolving into a very powerful attacker that guarantees confuses every turn, right? It's Magius.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, shout out. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, someone said that the heavy retreat cost of Clodsire makes Graffiti better. No, are you saying in comparison to Wheezing?
No, in the sense that if you keep Clodsire EX and you want to retreat into Wheezing to apply the poison, that means you need to discard 3 energies. So you have to use. You have to leave.
Right?
Yeah, you have to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's fine because you leave, you keep 1 energy on it, and then it's ready to Venoshock immediately.
That's right.
When you attach the next energy the next turn. So.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So colorless.
All right. I will read out the
Oh,
first
sorry,
colorless.
steel. Sorry, it looked white. My bad. It's steel.
Okay. What a cute artwork. Oh
yeah,
my.
it's cute. Yeah.
We've got Tinkertink.
With her little
HP.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, is that like a little spanking paddle? What is that? Like, I know the evolution has like a hammer, but like, what the hell is in its hands? It looks like a paddle, right? It looks like a rectangular ping pong paddle.
It's a piece of dynamite.
It's a piece of dynamite?
Yeah, see the string coming off the top of it?
Oh, well, oh, you mean the Pokemon itself, but it has something in its hands, right?
Yeah, I know, but look, there's like a string coming off of the top of that purple thing, right?
Okay,
You see
yeah,
it or
yeah,
no?
yeah,
Oh,
okay.
that's a pickaxe. That's the top of a pickaxe. Never mind.
Yeah.
No,
It's a pickaxe in the back. So it might be a paddle. I think it's like a paddle. It looks like a ping pong.
It must be a paddle.
Yeah.
No, I agree. If it's not a piece of dynamite, there's nothing else it could be.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I interrupted you. I was just curious.
I mean, hey, I wouldn't mind if the stage 2 came at me with a paddle. So
yeah, it's definitely so. The chat. Let's see what the chat said. It's definitely like a small version of the hammer paddle. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It does make sense. Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty basic stuff. Let's see the stage 1.
Corkscrew punch, 1 steel, 20 damage. Weak to fire, retreat 1. Podcast listeners, they're gonna love that one. Okay, so Tinkertuff, stage 1, 90 HP. Now for 2 metal, tenacious hammer, 30 plus. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 30 more damage. I mean, it's all right.
I mean, yeah. You always, whenever the flip coins, I always look at the average damage to get a kind of an idea, because over like a million games, you're gonna deal the average damage. So it's like 45, right, for 2. I mean, it's okay. It's respectable because like usually the stage 1s that lead to a stage 2, they have lower damage, right? Like you can look at the new Charmeleon, which is the same stats and it does 40 for 2. This one does 45 average, but the 60 is kind of a cool threshold because 60.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It's okay. I mean, I don't think you're gonna lead with this anyways. Right, I guess it curves well from the basic in case you brick and you don't get Dialga, but yeah, I think it's a respectable stage 1 for sure.
We've seen so much worse stage 1s actually.
Yeah,
with so much less upside to them.
That's right.
Well, let's check out the stage 2, right? Because a lot of this is contingent on the power level of Tinkerton EX. A whopping 170 HP for 2 metal energy and a colorless. Terrific thumping. 80 damage, flip a coin. If heads, it does 80 more damage. So 120 average, but the upside of a 160 damage attack is quite good. It's going to wipe basically everything.
Things. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm excited to play it. I think it's gonna like be really funny. Like it's gonna lead to a lot of like memorable moments where like you high roll and then you like one shot a bunch of stuff, right? 170 HP is like super beefy, right? It still gets one shot by the new Charizard, if it doesn't have a cape on, right? Or if it attacks into a helmet on a Moltres and then it dies to Charizard.
That's right. I should have mentioned Fire Weakness and 2 Retreat for those listening on Spotify.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, I don't think it's gonna like be meta defining. I don't think it's better than Arceus as a pairing for Dialga because it's gonna take 6 deck slots to run like both lines. So you want to keep Arceus because you free up so many like supporters, and we have so many good supporters now. But it's gonna be like a fun. It's a fun card to play. Like it's gonna be great, and like viewer battles. You know, you're gonna like you do like a special meme deck. You know, so I think it's fun. I love the art too. I love the concept of like the little automaton with like the huge hammer that like smacks people. Yeah, it's like Marowak 2.0. If you love Marowak, you're gonna love this. It's the upgrade.
I think at the end of the day, 160 is nothing to scoff at. It is a stage 2, however. So, I'll tell you what. There's worse stage 2 EXs in the game.
I agree.
And I don't know. I don't think it's going to see play, but I agree with you that it'll be fun to play regardless. When I see play, obviously I mean it in meta.
Yeah, in a competitive setting.
All right, we've got less than 20 cards to go, chat. We're flying through. Next up, Varoom. 70 HP, Steel for a headbutt, 10. Fire Weakness, Retreat, 1. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff, yeah.
Copy-paste, change the border to a metal border.
That's right.
All right, but obviously it's got an evolution, so we're going to look at that one now and see, is it good? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Stage 1, Revelry, 110 HP. So 2 metal and a colorless for Spinning Drift. It does 70. Flip a coin. If heads during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's weak to the 2 retreat cost. You think this is do you think that potential to be invincible is worth 70 damage for 3 energy?
I don't think so. Yeah, like once again, too much energy invested for too little of a reward. The coin flip is okay, but like, you know, why would you play this over, you know, Probo Pass or, you know, like other things that like are stage 1s and that deal more damage or have a nicer effect for 3 energies, right? And once again, like
it's 3 energy, like you can't curve into this very well.
You can't curve into this, and yeah, I mean everything that has 3 energy attack is basically like it's the benchmark is Arceus EX, right? So you always have to compare it to Arceus EX, and so far this whole pack we haven't seen a better pairing for Dialga yet, in my opinion. Like Tinkaton is interesting, but I don't think it's a better pairing. So I think Dialga Arceus might be here for another format. Obviously, there will be new cards that come up. I think the new Charizard is gonna deal some significant damage.
Yeah, red for sure. So
yeah, red as well. Yeah, for sure. So let's see what's next.
MST, because you talked about nothing to pair with Dialga. Is that true? Here we go. A very cool card. Stage 1 Goldengo. 120 HP for a metal and 2 colorless scintillating surfing. So 50 times. Flip a coin for each metal energy attached to the Pokemon. This attack does 50 damage for each heads. It's weak to fire, 2 retreat. So before you comment on this MST, let's just throw it out there. This is a metal Celebi that you have to into, but only gives up 1 point when it dies.
Yeah.
Bear in mind where you've fallen on this one.
I mean, I think once again, it's gonna be fun to play for sure. I do like the fact that it is, once again, like you said, a metal Celebi, right? It's not a basic, so like as soon as it's not a basic, it kind of means you have to run 4 cards in your deck, right? Two basics and 2 stage 1s. So compared to like the single Celebi that you can run in Leafeon, it's not the same game, right? You're taking up like 3 supporter slots more. But I think it's gonna be fun to play. I think yes, you can ramp this to like 1,000,000 energy with like Dialga, and then you bring it out and like you sweep, right? And no heals. Good call by Mythos. Although we do have a new supporter that
I was gonna say there's definitely heals, and that deck would be running Shaman anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, that's cool. Somebody in Discord earlier today said it looks like the String Cheese Man, and I agree. Is this like a Pokemon collab with like the String Cheese Man? Like it looks exactly like him. Like this has to be like a hidden collab or something. I don't know.
It's the cross promotion that we didn't ask for, but I guess we deserve for buying Scarlet and Violet.
I am certain that's what this is. It just looks too familiar. So yeah, I think it's gonna be fun to play. But once again, I don't think it's competitive because once again it takes 4 deck slots. But I mean,
true,
and if you lose the Dialga, if you lose your Dialga, you still lose the game once you lose this guy, right? It's not like Dialga is a 1-pointer. If Dialga was a 1-pointer, then I'd say like, yeah, sure, you can bring this guy after, and then maybe a second one or something. But
after how oppressive this guy was in Pokemon itself, it was one of the best Pokemon in the game.
Really?
Without a doubt.
All right.
Yeah, we didn't need it to be haunting us over here.
I agree.
So,
yeah.
Okay, we're about to move to the cards. I'm just going to go and use the toilet real quick.
Yeah, sure.
That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so yeah, we're gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna stay here and just chat with you guys. Goldango Metal. I'm mass in people's face, big time. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can like put 2 energies on the Dialga, ramp 2, put a third one on the Dialga, ramp 2 again, and then you have an 100 damage attack on Dialga. So and then you have the Goldango follow up after. Mythos Helios, thank you for the follow. Once again, shout out to Alonzo for the raid earlier. Let me just Poke Sneevy, thank you for the follow. Tergo, Kizzy, Vegeta, appreciate you guys. So yeah, we're almost done here. We haven't touched on the supporters. The supporters are gonna be quite interesting to talk about. I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4 new supporters, and all 4 of them are super interesting. So yeah, I'm excited for that. In terms of EXs, we still got Bibarel, the god. So yeah, let me know what you guys think so far. Is there something that you disagreed with? Is there something that you want to point out? Let's see. I'm gonna scroll up into the chat here. All right. I can also take this time for all the new viewers that are tuning in. On Sunday or Monday, we're going to do a $50 giveaway. We're going to give away a third of the Ursaday money from last Sunday to a random viewer on the channel here at MST. So if you want to enter the giveaway, just drop a follow and you'll be part of it. We're going to pull up the viewer list and we're going to run a random number generator and we'll pick somebody. And hopefully on Sunday or Monday, I'm not sure. It depends when. It depends when Ursi's team sends us the money. So once they send it to us, if they send it to us early, we'll do it on Sunday. If we don't have it yet, we'll do it on Monday. But definitely around that time for sure. Even if you don't tune in, you can still win. As long as you're a follower, you can still win. Like I'll write to you on Twitch if you're not there and if you tune in. If I win, I'll use some of it to get my sub back. These ads are annoying, but I'm broke. Oh, Ellie, I thought the mod status gave you like sub, but I guess not. Maybe I'll check the settings after. Congrats on Ursi win, by the way. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you, Maisie Blue. Thank you. Thank you.
Did I miss any juicy discussion points?
No, we're just
Where'd that
going
go?
over. We did say that we still have this 4 super interesting trainers. So yeah, I'm excited for that. We got one more EX Bibarel, and then we
Yeah.
got the trainers, which are super interesting.
All right. Well, speaking of our next card here, it's absolutely dreadful. Rattata, 50 HP for a colorless, tackle for 10, weak to fighting, 1 retreat cost. We did not need another Raticate. Again, I'll say it again. Why? Why is this here? We could have gotten more cool Paldia Pokemon if that was something they were going for. But
Yeah,
we got this instead.
I mean, they just This is the worst card to pull. Like 50 HP, only 10 damage, fighting weakness. At least it doesn't have 2 retreat, right? But come on, guys. Like, Ellie, don't dare my diss my boy Rattata. We just like the other one better. That's all.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting at. Yeah. All right, Ratic, 90 HP, 2 colorless for tackle for 50, weak to fighting, and retreat for 1.
Yeah.
No, it's a no from me as well.
I agree. Once again, yeah, it's filler. Right? We had a Pokemon earlier that was 90 HP. I think it was Driflim's evolution. It
Yeah.
dealt 40 and it retreated for 0. And now you have this, which is the same HP, deals 50 for 2 and has a retreat cost. I mean, they're not like they're picking favorites. Let's say even amongst the filler, they're still picking
Yeah.
favorites. So
I mean, even I think Drifblim was 1 energy attack.
it was,
40,
yeah,
so.
yeah.
All right, next one. Let's see, we got something better from colorless here. Jigglypuff, 60
Ooh.
HP basic.
Yeah.
Roll out for a colorless, it deals 20, weak to fighting, 1 retreat. So probably not going to support the potential of the Sing Jigglypuff, right? That puts
Yeah.
something to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. I
So-
mean, it's better than the genetic Apex Jigglypuff because that one had pound for 2 energies. It was 30. This one is
Mhm.
definitely like much better. It's the standard, right, with its stats. But I still like the sleepy, the sleepy Jiggly. Well, the Jigglypuff isn't sleepy. It puts people to sleep. So I like the singing Jigglypuff better. Even though it has 10 HP less, the effect is much better. So yeah.
I can't believe they didn't use this artwork for that one, considering it's... Oh, I thought that was a microphone, but it's actually
A little flower, but it's still cute. I love it. I love like
it looks
the
like it's,
and
looks like it's doing karaoke. So
It is,
they
yeah.
can use this one.
The sun rays are spotlights. Look at that.
Look, yeah, it's on stage as well. The stump. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah,
Really?
it's great. I love it.
All right, Wigglytuff, stage 1, 100 HP, ability, Comforting Song. Once during your turn, you may heal 20 damage from your active Pokemon. 2 colorless, Gentle Slap for 50, weak to fighting, 2 retreat costs. MSG, do you think this ability is worth playing this over the EX, for example? It's an interesting ability.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, it's kind of like a focused shaman, right? You have shaman
Is
that
it
heals
better?
for 20 across the board, yeah. And this one heals your active for 20. I mean, once again, like, are you gonna give up 4 deck slots to heal 20 every turn? Like,
No.
I don't think so. I don't. Yeah, like
It's Shaman heals everything for 10, so
Yeah.
really Shaman actually can heal a lot more off
Ex-
one activation than this can off of its Comforting Song.
Exactly, yeah. And Shaman is obviously a basic. You can run 1, and then you have 3 deck slots open. So I don't think you're ever gonna run this. Yeah, but
Amazing
good.
artwork.
I love the artwork, and yeah, a viewer pointed out something really interesting. So once we get it, we'll get to it. We'll cover it. So let's see
Okay.
what's next.
Next up, Lickitung. 80 HP basic with 2 colorless attack, roll out for 30. It's weak to fighting and it has a 2 energy retreat cost.
I mean, yeah. Is this? I mean, it might be the lowest energy Lickitung though.
It might be the best Lickitung, and that's really sad to say.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
actually. All the other Lickitungs have 3 energy attacks, but they're also much beefier though. This one,
And another thing too, most people have been running that with something like the Alga, right? Which
yeah,
can basically put enough energy on it so like
yeah,
you can continue to lick when it comes in, for
yeah, yeah.
examples.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, sure, one more Lickitung. I the art looks like it was made in MS Paint, don't you think? It looks like somebody drew this. It looks like somebody drew this in MS Paint.
Actually,
Like
though,
you can
that
see the
is so
pixels. You
funny.
can see the pixels.
Oh my god, you're right. There's like unless it's something on my screen, there are like
Yeah,
additional pixels in there.
yeah, yeah. Anyways,
That is so funny.
yeah.
Well, let's check out the next one then.
Yes,
See
sir.
if this is worth it. Licky Licky, it's stage 1, has 130 HP, and for 3 colorless, can roll out for 70 damage. It's weak to fighting and a 3 energy retreat cost. Really not seeing much potential here.
Yeah, no, not really. I like the EX Licky Licky. I think 4 energy is a bit too much, but it has a potential to deal like infinity damage, right, as well. So it makes
Yeah,
sense. It makes sense.
it's much better, the
Yeah,
other one.
yeah, yeah.
So,
All
all right,
right.
cool.
The God. We got.
Here he is.
Yeah.
He's returned. He's risen once again. It's basic Bidoof, 70 HP. For 2 colorless, you can headbutt for 30 damage. Weak to fighting, 2 retreat cost. This is the same as the last one, which did a lot more damage typically. I mean, obviously, it's
Yeah.
based on the HP of the Pokemon you're
Yeah, yeah,
attacking,
yeah.
but
I
I
think
don't see this being better, but maybe the HP? I don't know.
yeah, it has 10 more HP than the Super Fang Bidoof that you're thinking about. But Super Fang, like, I mean, if you're facing a Dialga, you can chomp it for like it's rounded down, so you can chomp it for 80 damage,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's
Rounded up.
much more
Rounded
than
up. Yeah.
this one. So I think you definitely run the old Bidoof. Yeah.
Really nice artwork though. It has like Winnie the Pooh vibes.
Oh, that's
So
true. Yeah, it's like a watercolor. It looks really nice.
I love how many times have we been like, this card sucks, but the artwork's really nice. Like that
Yeah,
matters.
yeah, you got to give it to them. You got to give it that Dina has been putting out some great artwork, and
Yes, they
it
are.
gives reasons for collectors, right? People that aren't too competitive, gives them a reason to
Right.
log in and pull packs. So shout out to all the artists. Yeah,
Other than that Lickitung we just looked at, or Licky Licky, whichever one was made in MS Paint, there's some great artwork in this set. So,
yeah.
okay. Well, here it
Here we
is.
are.
Everyone's been waiting for this one. The hype's been building all night long.
Yeah,
It's Bibarel EX, stage 1, 160 HP. For 4 colorless, Carefree Press, 100 damage, and heal 30 damage from this Pokemon.
yeah,
It's got a fighting weakness and a 3 retreat cost.
yeah.
MST, initial thoughts.
Uh, I mean, I like the meme ability, right? I like if you run this on ladder when ranked comes out, you definitely get aura points from me. So shout out to the brave people that will play this on ladder. But yeah, outside of that, I'm not sure I like it. Like
It's such a steep cost for an attack.
yeah,
I mean, why couldn't it have had anything else, like a 1 or a 2 energy? I guess let's say it had a 2 colorless energy attack to go with Carefree Press that maybe did 40, right? Something like that would have made this so much more playable, in my opinion.
And the other thing is, and obviously, like we don't usually say this, but this feels like maybe a strictly worse Lickitung EX because it's a stage 1. It has the same amount of HP. It's also colorless. The attack takes 4 energy, but Lickitung can do infinity damage. It can roll 90 coins, or if you get lucky, you can roll 120 coins, right? Like,
yeah, I agree, 100%.
So,
and let's be real, what the 30 heal, I don't see a break point this is helping with. Let's just throw Dialga Arceus out there as example. If Arceus is hitting for 130, this is healing back up to 60. If Dialga hits with Metallic Impact, for 100. This goes to 60. Now it's healing back up to 90.
Yeah.
Again, not surviving the next metallic impact. Just could they not have given it maybe a bit better healing? I don't know.
I think they needed to like up the numbers, either on the heal, either on the damage,
or another attack, like I said earlier.
Oh yeah, another attack. That's true. Like a second option, right, for Carefree Press, because right now it's just worse. It's like a worse Licky Tongue. Like if it had three colorless, right, for the same attack, I would have like entertained the idea, right, because it's a stage 1. But right now the only thing, the actual only advantage that it has over Licky Tongue is that it has 1 less retreat cost from 4 to 3. That's the only advantage. The HP is the same, the damage is worse, the effect is worse, same fighting weakness. It's a stage 1, and it only retreats for 1 less. I don't know.
We're getting some comments in the chat basically saying that's what healing supporters are for. Irida combo. I mean, sure, but they're so much better.
Yeah,
could be doing.
Yeah, but I mean, you can apply all that to Licky Tongue. Like, there's no reason why you can't run water energy with Licky Tongue. So yeah. So
all right.
Yeah.
Sounds like you and I are both not too high on this card, and I wouldn't be surprised if the meta reflects that. It's just. It's really just so much for not enough.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that holds back a lot of these cards in general is basically mispriced attacks, right? 4 energy is too much for that. So, okay. Basic, Baneri. It's got 50 HP, pound for 20, weak to fighting, 1 retreat. Cool. Basic bread and butter card. Let's check out its evolution here. Wow, between Tinkerton and Low Punny, they're in a mood. So stage 1, Low Punny, 100 HP, popping shot for 30, for 1 colorless, interestingly, and weak to fighting, retreat for 1. I mean, pack filler, right? For people just downloading Pocket for the first time.
Yeah,
cards.
That's true. Let me just check what the old Baneri looks like.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, the old Baneri is 60 and then 1 for 10, and this one is 50 and 1 for 20. So once again, it's just like a different iteration. So yeah.
What card did you disagree on? I mean, if there's one card I think we have really disagreed on right so far, it might be Giratina EX. I think MST was a lot lower on it than me. But
I mean, I was still like, I was more like center leaning on that. Yes, it's playable, but it's not gonna like break the meta, right? So I think maybe that. What else do we disagree on? Is there anything else? I think Giratina is probably the one. Maybe the trainers. Maybe we haven't talked about the trainers yet.
Yeah, I know. So we're getting there, chat, and I bet everyone's buzzing for them because let's be real.
So
let's
in
this game than new trainers. Yeah. So, okay, next colorless card. We have a card I actually kind of want to talk about for a bit here. Cyclizar. So it's a basic with 80 HP for a single colorless over acceleration. 20 damage, but during your next turn, this Pokemon's over acceleration attack at 40 damage. It's weak to fighting, it's got 1 retreat. So let's compare this to Farfetch'd for a second. It's a higher HP Farfetch'd, because that was the first card I literally thought of when I saw this. It's a higher HP Farfetch'd that starts out doing a little bit less damage, but then builds up. Do you think the HP is worth that, or do you just think Farfetch'd is much better?
I mean, it's an interesting card for sure. I think 80 HP is quite can make quite a difference. My question is, when I read this card, does it go 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, like 20 every turn, or does it just stop at 40 the way Togekiss does? Let me check the phrasing for Togekiss, because I think this card might be able to ramp to infinity.
I think it does.
Yeah. Overdrive Smash. Actually, I don't know. Overdrive Smash 60. During your next turn, this Pokemon's Overdrive Smash attack does 60 damage. So it's the same phrasing.
Oh,
So I think it stops at
no, I was
40.
so excited.
Yeah, it stops at 40. Yeah.
I think this was going to become a cool card where you're essentially racing against it getting to, and that would have been so flavorful with what this
Yeah.
card
And
is, but you're racing against its attack building too high.
that's true. Like people could play like trainers with this, right? Like if it had more
Yeah.
HP and then you like over accelerate till you get to like 200 damage. But no, if it's worded the same way Togekiss is, and Togekiss maxes at 120. It doesn't stack at each and every turn. Though I think that would be a really cool mechanic that hopefully they add eventually, right? And
I mean,
like,
look, this is an interesting card regardless, right? It's making us revisit Farfetch'd and say,
yeah,
right, you got 80 HP. Now you're weak to fighting, which is a lot worse than being weak to electric, at least as things stand. Now, one mistake we made in our first set review, our first episode, is we really judged cards based on the current meta. I think that's completely normal to do. It makes sense that we're going to pull from examples of existing decks when we're evaluating the cards, but everything could change. That said, I do love this card from a design perspective in giving, Farfetch can be splashed into any deck. Giving us more cards with potential that can be splashed into any deck is cool, in my opinion.
100%. Yeah. So yeah, we got to the trainers. Here we are. You want to do the first one? Yeah.
All right, here we are. Yeah. You want to read this one out?
Yes, sir. So Yono, trainer card, new trainer card. Each player shuffles the cards plural in their hand into their deck, then draws that many cards. So what was your first impression when you saw this, Roxas?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've played many trading card games, and typically this effect isn't very powerful. Now, that said, those are in formats with 40, 60 card decks. We're talking about Pocket with a 20 card deck. I think that increases the chances of drawing into what you need, because let's be real here. You're playing this card when there's something you need that you don't have, right? You're not playing it when your hand's already good. You're doing other things.
Yeah.
But with a 20 card deck, the percentage of hitting the cards you need is increased.
Yeah.
It is inherent card disadvantage, right? You are spending one, so you're drawing, if you have 5 cards in hand and play this, you're drawing 4 cards. You're not drawing 5. That's something you need to keep in mind. One of the first things I thought about was it does help you dig for evolutions, so that's not bad. But I think this is a card that its play will ebb and flow based on the potential combos in the formats that come. If there ever becomes a combo deck, it's playing this card.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. It's not ignoring Iono. In terms of what it can do for your opponent, it can hurt them, it can help them. I mean, how many times has how many times has red card put it in a bad hand and made it better, right?
Yeah.
So and that's my biggest fear is you're going down a card, you're spending a turn on an extremely valuable supporter, and you are potentially making your opponent's hand better, and it could be making yours worse. Which is why I will return to what I just said. You need to play it in a specific deck where you are searching up cards you need.
Yeah.
But to deny the potential of this card, I think is insane.
Yeah.
There could be a deck where this is the best draw card by a mile, a combo deck, for example. So, yeah, I mean, I rambled there for a bit, but what do you think? Do you agree with what I said?
I totally agree. Honestly, when I saw this card, I didn't actually grasp the full intricacy of playing it. Right? I was like, oh, perfect. Like we got a communication for our entire hand. Just send everything back, reshuffle, get the same amount of cards back. Communication is a -1, and it's a great card. So I don't think the -1 issue is that important. Obviously, communication is not a trainer, right? So you can use Sabrina or Cyrus or whatever, right, in the same turn. But the intricacy really comes from, like, let's say you have a board state where, yes, you're missing like a stage 2, right? But what if your opponent is also missing a stage 2, right? Do you
Yeah.
like do you play Yono, right? Knowing that you're gonna like for sure your opponent doesn't have the stage 2, sorry, or the stage 1, because he didn't play it that turn, right? If he had it, he would have just dropped it, and he didn't do it, so for sure he doesn't have it. And then you draw Yono, right? A communication, you would have used it, no problem. But then Yodo, you're like reticent because, hold up, right? Yes, I'm gonna unbrick my hand, but am I gonna be helping him as well? So there's that version. There's also the version where, like, okay, like, I'm gonna assume he has a certain trainer, and then I'm gonna use it, just to like try to shuffle it away, the way Mars works, right? But Mars obviously, is much more restrictive in the cards that you get back. So I think playing this card and knowing when to use it is gonna be a great way to express skill, right? It's gonna get you thinking a lot, right? Communication is kind of like, oh, I got this. Let me just see what I can send away, easy peasy, right? But this one is much
So
more intricate. It's much more intricate.
everything you said is true. And someone mentioned in chat that, and it's kind of agreeing with what I said. Someone mentioned you shouldn't worry about what this does for your opponent. And that's exactly what I was getting at when I said you doing this in like a combo deck, right? This card is going to be best in straightforward decks that want to enact a consistent linear game plan. They have one thing they want to do, and they want to do that fast. Yodo's going to help there. It's got massive potential. It's a card that the better the player you are, the better it is.
Yeah.
I mean that for you. So, and I think you were kind of getting at that a bit there just now. So, look, the more combos we get, and the more powerful linear strategies emerge, the better this is.
Yeah.
It is -1, but I think we talked about this in our very first podcast episode. Pocket is really not a card advantage based game. You don't win because you have more cards in your hand than your opponent. Why? You can only attack with one Pokemon at a time. You can only evolve once a turn, and you can only play one supporter a turn. Right? It's not like you can Iono into 2 Professor's Research and a Sabrina and then use all of those cards immediately. No. You're locked into your one supporter a turn.
Yeah.
So, having extra, it's more about having the right cards than it is about having more cards in this game.
100%, yeah. And I mean, earlier you were talking about like what the combo decks, right, that are gonna most likely use it more than not, right? And the first thing that comes to mind is obviously the fossil decks, right? Because your fossil, your Rampardos, is it's not your only win condition, right? But it's a significant win condition. So you're gonna run this card because there's no other way to like get your fossils from the bottom of the deck. So fossil decks, I think it might be like not an auto include, but they're definitely gonna consider this much more than communication, because communication can get you a fossil.
They played Chatot, right? For the same reason.
Yep.
So what we're looking at here is much better because it doesn't give up a point.
100%. Yeah, this is like it's a much better Chatot. So fossil decks, and I think sweeper decks, the way like Charizard, right? Like you want to get your Charizard because you know that you can one shot whatever he has in the active, and then he can't revenge kill you anymore because Mew doesn't do that anymore to the new Charizard. Basically nothing. What can revenge kill the new Charizard? I'm having trouble like thinking, right? If you're
genetic Charizard.
Sorry? That's right, a genetic Apex Charizard. That's the only thing that kills the new Charizard. Outside, yeah, there you go. So so you don't care. You don't care. I mean, the chat is right. Like in Charizard deck or in fossil decks, you don't care about your opponent's draw from Yono, because you know that if you get your pieces together, you're gonna sweep him, regardless of what cards he draws from Yono. So I definitely think Yeah, I'm excited to pull one. This is probably like the card that this and Pachirisu
Yeah.
are the two cards that I'm most excited to pull, and yeah, I'm excited to put it to work and just see. I don't think
See, I don't
yeah,
think this goes into every deck, and I love
no,
that. But
yeah,
we've talked about this in previous episodes that these sort of, what do you want to call them? Just auto-include
yeah,
trainers.
yeah,
Like a good example would be Sabrina slash Cyrus. They pretty much, you're going to have one or two of them in most decks.
hmm,
They're just so good,
yeah,
and they reduce the deck size of our decks, because we're already playing 16 card decks
hmm,
because of Oak and Pokeball. Let's be real.
yeah,
This doesn't just go with everything, but when you have a linear, powerful game plan that you want to follow,
yeah,
Iono can help you, and
100%,
I
yeah,
love that. I
yeah,
love that design
yeah,
element.
yeah, and
So,
like I'm gonna take a gamble here and say I don't think there's any situation where you would want to add two in a deck, because starting with both of these in the starting hand, or even drawing this way too late in the game, right? It's a dead card, right? In both situations, I think
mhm.
one of is like the more people will run. So yeah, I mean, it's great. I think it adds another level of like skill expression to the game. The way Sabrina does, the way Cyrus does. I was pretty like when Cyrus released, right? I was like, I'm not sure I like Cyrus. Like, it prevents like like retreating and like
Yeah.
spreading around the damage. But I've learned to play around it and play against it and play with it, and I actually enjoy it now. I think it does add some intricacy in the sense that before you didn't really think like, oh, where should I like concentrate all the damage to not activate Cyrus, right? Before you're like, what's my highest HP Pokemon and how much damage can I tank on it before I can retreat it? And
I agree.
now you're like, do I keep this one in the active? Like, is it gonna matter down the road in 4 turns when it's gonna get Cyrus or not? So I think Cyrus is once again Sabrina, Cyrus, Yono, lots of other cards are gonna like are great for skill expression. So yeah, I'm super excited to see how this pans out. We're gonna find out
You are.
tomorrow. It's tomorrow, so we
You
won't have
heard
to
it here
wait long. We
first.
won't have to wait long.
You heard it here first, podcast listeners. MST loves Cyrus. He's officially joined the dark side.
I've
So,
definitely joined the dark side to the point that I'm chasing a full art Cyrus now. I went from Cyrus hater to chasing a full art Cyrus. That's how bad things have got. So
as an owner of two full art Cyrus, I have enjoyed having his face pop up right before I see that your opponent has conceded message pop up.
yeah,
So,
let's
look,
go.
I saw
Yeah.
a message from Adia saying they missed the set review. Don't worry, this is going up on Spotify, and I just want to use this moment to do a little shout for everyone here. I've got a pin message in my chat. MST has a pin message in
Yeah.
his chat.
Can you actually send it to me on Discord, the link, and I'll pin it right away?
Oh, sorry, he doesn't have a a one. I did already send it to you, by the way. Check our chat.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's above the image.
Oh
You
yes,
see it?
okay, got it, got it, got it, got it. My bad.
So our podcast is live on Spotify. If you want to check out the previous episodes, I'd really suggest it. If you like what you're hearing now, if you want to hear more deep tournament level meta analysis from two players who have had a lot of success, that is the place to go. We have our first episode is a full review of Triumphant Light. We reflected on the Space-Time Smackdown meta. Really, I know that time's come and gone, but I promise you it's still interesting because we touch on so many things, don't we, overall? Game theory, play theory, right? Sequencing. So there's still loads there. Our second episode, we kind of talked about some of the cards we didn't analyze correctly in our set review, and we talked about the meta as a whole. So is it only on Spotify? For now, but I'm going to upload it as well to, like, I think there's an Amazon podcast space, right? So I'll get all that done. I just literally put it out like a week ago, the first episode. So, but seriously, worth checking out. And again, if you can leave a 5-star review, give it a listen. it supports us a lot since we are able to monetize that podcast. So yeah, like I said, so much interesting discussion in those from two successful players. So, all right, any last thoughts then on Iono? Oh wait, we're getting some questions. Let me just make sure they're not
we
about
can do the energy question at the end. It's a good question to wrap up.
We'll definitely do a little Q&A at the end for everyone who's just want to throw out some questions. So yeah. Okay.
Right. So
let's move on to the next trainer, yeah?
Yeah. So you want to go on this one?
Yeah, I'm down with that. All right. Pokemon Center Lady. Can we just laugh at that name for a second? Like, they couldn't have gone with Nurse?
Yeah, couldn't have gone with Nurse Joy.
It just sounds like a random NPC hanging out in the Pokemon Center trying to sell you a Magikarp for 3,000.
Yeah, you know? they did Nurse Joy dirty for sure. They did Nurse Joy dirty. Like what's the
out with a card like, you know, Pokemon Center dude.
Yeah.
Like, who is that?
That's right. What's the name of the officer in the anime? You know, like Officer
Jenny.
Yeah. What are they gonna call her? Like policewoman? Like I don't know. They really gotta get more creative with these ones.
So disappointing name aside, we got a trainer here. Our second trainer from the set, Pokemon Center Lady. Heal 30 damage from one of your Pokemon, and it recovers from all special conditions. MST. Throw your thoughts out there for me, man. What do you think?
I mean, I like it. I think giving like a healing to all decks is actually a super good way to balance things out. Like yes, we already had potion, but in some situations, potion wasn't enough to like fully heal and deactivate Cyrus, right? Like sometimes deactivate Cyrus. So having this is a great option for a lot of decks. It's a great tech choice. I don't think it's broken or anything. So yeah, I think trainer decks that don't run Irida or Erica are gonna use this. Like Pachi trainers are gonna use this one. So yeah, what were your initial thoughts on this one?
I mean, here's an advantage potion has. It's an item, okay? And you can play 2 of them in one turn. This is using up a crucial supporter slot, right? You can't Oak when you play Pokemon Center Lady. You can't Sabrina, you can't Cyrus. So yeah, it's... Oh yeah, welcome in. The Danksters have arrived. Welcome in.
Yes, sir. Big shout. Thank you, Dangbag, for the raid. Make sure everybody to follow him. He's a great friend here on the channel. Big shout. Welcome.
Just if you don't know who we are, MST and I are a couple tournament grinders. We've you may have run into us, unfortunately for you, in a Limitless tournament. But yeah, it's that. Look, potion is an item. You can play 2 potions in one turn to heal 40. You know what I mean? This is a supporter. Heals 30. The special conditions, I think, is relevant. We talked about Clodsire earlier, how powerful the poison was, but the fact that it didn't itself have a way to reapply poison beyond the Wooper's initial attack. So once you clear that poison out, it's pretty good. I mean, what other really good status dealing cards are there? It's basically Wheezing, right? That see play.
Yeah, that's about it. I think Poison is the most one. I think the damage, the healing is definitely more relevant than Special Condition. It's a great add to Snorlax decks, right? Like you can add, like you wouldn't play Lumberry, but you would play this, right? You would definitely play at least like one of these. So
18 trainer decks. Gonna love this card.
Pachi Trainers is gonna love this for sure.
Wakes up your Snorlax. I mean, that's super relevant.
So I mean, like here's the thing, right? Like decks that already run Irida or Erica, like you're not gonna have room for this one too. Like already you can only play 1 per turn, right? And sometimes like I've been playing Leafeon Celebi recently with double Erica, double Irida. and like I never find the time to like use all my
I know.
healing. So you're not gonna
Same.
have time for like this one too. So yeah,
That's why I think like saying this is better than potion and removes potion from the game
yeah,
is entirely is it just you're forgetting that potion is an item. You can potion and Erica in a turn. You can't lady and Erica. You know, and so I don't think this is just going to remove potion from the game at all.
yeah.
They're two different cards. They're two different card types ultimately. So, but yeah, I mean, it is healing access for everyone.
Mhm.
And if we get into a place in the meta where that 30 heal is able to sort of shore up a tricky breakpoint, yeah,
Yeah,
this is card's going to see play.
I agree.
So,
And Anya in the chat makes a great point for Dialga. I like this card works great with basic Pokemon, right? That are
mhm.
rampers. So it works great for Moltres. It works great for Dialga, because
Yeah,
these
yeah.
Pokemon, if they're asleep or they're paralyzed, they can't do their job, right? So maybe like I think right now with just Clodsire being strong, I think it's not going to be that relevant. But in future formats, if they bring back more cards with paralysis, more cards with sleep, this card is going to be super clutch for the rampers that absolutely can't skip a turn, being asleep or paralyzed. So I
This
think it's
card,
yeah.
this card really makes me wish that we had sideboards. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, in some other card games, you have a sideboard, which is a small set of cards separate from your main deck. And in a best of 3 tournament, after game 1, you can remove certain cards from your deck and replace them with cards that are only in your sideboard. And we're going to talk about another card next, Red, which does extra damage to EX Pokemon. That would be another fantastic sideboard card, right? Because you can not play it main deck, and then if you're playing against an EX heavy deck, you can side it into your deck for games 2 and 3 to improve your matchup. This is a card that would be perfect for that because, oh, they're playing Clodsire. You know what? Pokemon Center Lady, fantastic counter to that.
Yeah.
As it is, we only have 20 deck slots and they are so precious, and they're getting more and more precious with every single set that comes out and every single good card, you know, that comes along that can complement any deck. So my little rant about sideboards there. I mean, I just, you know, is when you're building your deck, okay, and you have, let's say you've got 2 oak, you've got 2 leaf, you've got, and I'm kind of looking at Dialga Arceus here, you've got a Sabrina, a Cyrus, 2 Geo. Where does Pokemon Center Lady fit in over Potion? Because when you're taking a turn off to play this and you can't Leaf or, you know, Sabrina or all these things, or Geo, like,
you're right. Yeah.
Potion's better there. Potion is better. So
Yeah, there's just not enough deck slots. Yeah, the other trainers are just better. So yeah,
yeah.
but it's a great tech card, like you said. It's great to have it, just for future formats as well. So let's see. We only got 2 cards left, and then we'll take questions and do our favorite art as well. I'll read this one. Red. It's a trainer card. So during this turn, attacks used by your Pokemon do 20 plus damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX. So same effect as Pseudo, but applied to any Pokemon attacking the active Pokemon only, not the bench, and only for this turn. Well, what was your first reaction? I just want to say this is another card. I think this might be the second card after Giratina where people like disagree. Where some people are like, "Oh, this is a must add to every deck." Yes, sir. Let's go. We're gonna stomp on the Dialga Arceus. And other people are like, I don't know, maybe not. What do you think?
Well, I'd say that's pretty that's not a good line of thought. Like, this is a card that it's all depending on the breakpoints. Once we know those, the popular breakpoints, we'll know how good this card is.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into the power level of this card itself, I want to say something really quick about the game design and the flow of the meta. This is such a brilliant design for a card because when the meta swings heavy towards basic EXs like we've seen with Dialga Arceus, this is a card you want to play. Then it might push those decks out of the meta and then you might stop playing red, which allows a hole to open for those decks to now return, right? When people stop playing red, and they start playing red again. And we have this back and forth, this shift, snip, snap, snip, snap. So love that about this card. But again, it's from a raw power perspective, I think Geo's probably a little bit better in that it works on all Pokemon.
Yeah.
But in certain metas, this is going to be better.
Yeah.
It's all about calculating the breakpoints, like I said.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we finally got Red Ash, right? He's here. He's looking chill. He's standing in front of his house there in Pallet Town. Love the artwork. Love the callback. I mean, this card's going to see play. No doubt. It's about the time and place for it and how you're attacking the meta. It's gonna reward good deck builders.
Yeah.
Who can read the meta.
I agree. I definitely agree with that last statement. I think with all the new trainers that we get, every expansion, the more they add trainers, right, the more deck building is going to take skill and it's going to be intricate, right? Like Genetic Apex, like every deck you added like 2 X speeds, right, 2 potions, like that's all you had, like that was it. You just do it in every deck. But now that you have so many choices, right, it can really reward like skillful deck building. And like you said, it can make it so that between weeks you get an ebb and flow of what's the winning deck, because people are they're gonna have access to good tech cards like red, right, to push out the winning deck from last week and so on. And every week we get like this cycling, which I think is super healthy for the game. And it keeps people invested. Right now we kind of had issues with Dialga Arceus, right? Because even the counter decks, like they weren't enough to like completely punish it. And cards like red just add to that, right? I don't think it's going to be like an addition in every deck. I definitely think it's a tech card more than anything else. But the red paired with cape, paired with helmet, it just adds like another level of intricacy, right? So I love the fact that they added this. But I'm really against saying that, oh yeah, it's going to be an addition in every deck. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Definitely
no,
not.
I think anyone saying it isn't going to see play is crazy, and anyone saying it replaces Giovanni completely is crazy. Like, it is about reading the meta. Look, if 18 trainer decks only play X's, because we only have X's worth playing right now. So yeah, if you're on the ladder and everyone's playing that, yeah, why wouldn't you play 2 red?
Yeah.
Right? So
100%, yeah.
I don't have much more to say about this card. I kind of think it's more interesting to talk about theoretically from a deck design standpoint than it is its actual power level, because it's powerful, plain and simple, but its power depends on the meta.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Meowscarada, it's like Pseudo, right? Like in the very beginning, people were playing like double Pseudo in their Rampardos, and then the meta kind of shifted to Origin Form Palkia, and then Pseudo's bad against Origin Form Palkia, right? So they had to take it out and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I love having the choice to add this. What more can I say? So let's do the last trainer card. This one, I mean, I think it's gonna raise some blood pressure on ladder. This might raise the collective blood pressure on ladder. We might get some holes in some walls and some dry walls. So
before I read it out, I just want to say that this card is literal proof that Misty was not a mistake. They are content to let us flip as many heads as we can, and that is something they wanted. So look, it's the Team Rocket Pokemon Pocket podcast. What do we think? A Team Rocket grunt. Flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Let's unpack this one, MST. Get down for us, man. What do you think?
So, like my initial reaction is like everybody's reaction, like anti-Misty. But I gotta admit, this is far. It ain't no Misty. It ain't no Misty, right? And here's the reason why. Okay, so the reason, the first reason is that Misty you can apply to any one of your Pokemon benched or active. Okay, this one is only the opponent's active Pokemon, so you don't have a choice. Okay, you can't discard energy off the Darkrai. You can't discard energy off the Charizard in the back. You have to do it on whatever's in front of you. So that's already like a huge limitation, huge limitation. And then the second limitation is Misty has infinite potential, right? Because it gives you energy, right? It has unlimited potential. It can give you like infinity energy, right? Whereas this one, it has a max energy that it can remove. It's whatever you have, whatever energy you have on the active, right? And even then, it's like, it's not even that good. 50% of the time, it does nothing. And then the other 50% of the time, it has a limited upside, right? The limited upside being whatever energy is on your active, right? 1, 2, are you going to be like, okay, but the other half of the time, it's a -1 for nothing. So, like, yeah, this is like, I get it, but it really ain't no Misty. Misty, like, has infinite potential. That's why people, like, love to play it, hate to play against it. Like, it can, like, make or break the game for you. That's why it's still an auto include in a lot of water decks. Recently we've seen lists without it, but most water decks still choose to play Misty because of its upside potential, and this one has limited upside potential. It has limitations. There's no room for this. You're not going to take out a Cyrus, you're not going to take out a Sabrina, you're not going to take out what, like, a Nurse Joy, a Pokemon Center Lady. You're not going to take out Pokemon Center Lady for this. So, but it's trolly. People are gonna play it in their fan Rotom Aerodactyl decks, and it's gonna be really trolly. So why not? But yeah, there you go. I don't think it has. I don't think it has competitive potential. It has meme potential, and sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that's enough.
I think its best use case. A lot of people are thinking like anti-Misty. Cool. I actually think its best use case is mitigating going first and not getting the first energy. Just they go second, they place their energy, and then in your second turn, you use a Team Rocket Grunt, you flip ahead, you wipe that energy, and then attach your energy. That to me is the most powerful way to use this card. Because not only are you now ahead on evolution, you're ahead on energy. So I think a lot of people are thinking so big with this card, which is natural, the way it's worded. We want to think about those crazy moments, but let's bring it down back to earth for a second here. Wiping a single energy at the beginning of the game is going to be the most powerful, in my opinion, the most powerful use for this card.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say it's pretty funny is it's a new tool for 18 trainer decks, but it's also like the best card against them in the mirror. Because they spend 2 turns building up the Articuno to be able to finally attack, and you wipe those energies. It's going to be really annoying in the mirror matches for those.
That's a great shout. Reversing the energy advantage, right? I mean, yeah, it's still a 50-50, right? So you still got to flip the coin properly.
I just think it's better early game than late. A lot better early game.
It is, yeah.
When you can take advantage of the tempo. And look, we've talked about this infinitum on this podcast, how this is such a tempo-based game where literally every turn is so crucial, isn't it? Where you place your energy, which supporter you choose to use. And this kind of can help you get back into a winning position early in the game, but late in the game, when everyone's got a bunch of stacked Pokemon, they're moving in and out, they're retreating, you'd much rather be using Sabrina or Cyrus, for example, to finish off the game.
100%, yeah. And energy doesn't, I mean, it obviously matters, but you're right that it's less impactful at the end of the game versus like a position swapping card like Sabrina or Cyrus,
It's like when you use an early Sabrina to set them back in energy, right? Because now they have to like place an energy and retreat to get their attack in, for example. Very similar vibe. And that is an extremely powerful play. But obviously this one isn't guaranteed. I mean...
great shout. I don't know how to rate
this card, fully. I need to play with it.
To see. All right.
Yeah.
Should we do our favorite arts and then we'll take questions? We already have one from Onya earlier. So I'll go
Yeah, let's
first.
play.
Oh, sorry.
Let's do yours. Yeah.
Yeah. So my favorite new art for this new pack, my new chase card is definitely this new Pikachu. The Rainbow Pikachu with the Thunderbolt discharge. It just looks sick. I'm like so hyped for this. I'm not sure I'm gonna like once again the competitiveness of the card remains to be seen, but this just looks
Yeah.
so sick to me. Yeah.
I agree. It's so fucking sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what about yours?
So mine, let's pop that one up, is Tinkerton EX, the rainbow. Look at the color work on this one. It's fantastic. You know?
Yeah,
It's
I
just
love it. I love
beautiful.
it. Yeah, I love it. It reminds me of like Splatoon. You know, Splatoon on Switch. They use
Yeah.
they use like the same colors, like these like neon bright colors, and it just looks really nice, right? So I
I love
love
the
it.
color
Yeah,
palette.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
the
yeah,
color palette.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, I guess we got new chase cards. Better take out that wallet because screw the shinies. We want the rainbows. Give us the rainbows, not the
I don't
shinies.
wait, where did my wallet go? It must have heard me talking earlier.
There you go. There you go. It ran away. It's like, fuck yeah, I'm not doing this again.
So chat, one thing we do, and we're going to do this for every set review,
All right, yeah.
is we make a top 5 list of our cards that we think are going to shake the meta. So at the very beginning of this episode, we looked at our list, our prediction from Triumphant Light set review, and we kind of analyzed it, didn't we? So we're going to do that again, but before we do that, I'm going to get the list set up over here on my end. Before we do that, let's take some Q&A, yeah?
So we had a question earlier. We had a question
Nice.
earlier from Onya, and his question is, what type do you think is going to be most got the most advantage out of this new pack, like the highest boost? You want to go first, or should I go first?
So we're talking about what type got the
Yeah,
biggest boost?
yeah.
Ooh.
From the new cards,
It's
like
a fantastic question, and
yeah.
my answer is actually going to be. You know what? It's early days, but I'm going to say fire.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I agree with you. I think I mean I might be biased, right? Because I love playing Fire before this format, but I definitely think Fire is back on the menu. Yeah, just because like it has a great pairing into Arceus Dialga, and the Mew just doesn't revenge kill it anymore. Like there's one Shaman that's the only 1 point card in that deck, but everything else is 2 point, and there's no way to revenge kill the Charizard in Arceus Dialga anymore. Charizard, like
No.
as long as
Have fun with
Moltres,
that.
yeah, as long as Moltres wears a helmet, right, to like chip the Dialga or the Arceus with the cape, right? Like Charizard can sweep, right? Like Mew can't revenge kill it anymore. So like their Fire is gonna get a huge boost, especially against the top deck from last format. Obviously, that doesn't mean that Arceus Dialga is still gonna be the best in this one. So maybe getting an advantage over Arceus Dialga isn't quite that big of a deal. But I do think Fire is gonna get a huge glow up in this new format. So
I mean, yeah, what I said earlier about finally Fire being able to include other cards than Moltres in the deck, I think is going to be really important here for them. Like, they need that. They need other avenues, other reasons to play other cards, and I think we can finally see that happen here, right? With Stoke. Stoke does the job Moltres was there to do.
Yeah.
So.
And we have another question from Ellie. What will your first deck attempt to be run? Like, let's say like in a competitive setting. Let's say you pull all the cards. What will you try running in like the first tournament where you don't actually know what the meta is, where you're like going in blind?
Probably Clodsire. I think it matches well into Dialga, and I know the poison doesn't work on Arceus, but I'm gonna have a little tinker with something else to deal with that, you know. So, otherwise, it would probably be the new Charizard.
Yeah. Same here. So
Yeah,
I think if I had to like pick, I'd be like a new Charizard with Moltres and like helmets.
yeah.
And then second, I would still try Rampardos just because of Yono. I think Yono makes the fossils much more consistent. And then third, what would I play third? I'm not sure. Like I like electric, but I don't think I would try it in a tournament setting just yet. Uh, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Definitely, yeah. Fire first. I still like fighting. I wouldn't play the new Lucario though. I just
Hmm.
played the same list with like a Yono. I think that'd be nice. So yeah.
Are we
Question: Are
happy
you?
with ranked
Yeah.
rewards? I don't know
What?
what they are. They're
Yeah.
just the
What?
emblems.
Yeah. What are they? Can somebody link us in the chat what the rewards are? And we'll see. Other than the emblems, of course. All right. Should we do our top five while we
Yeah,
wait?
let's throw a card on there while we're doing a little research on the ranked rewards in the background. So, okay, top 5 cards. So let's just throw some cards out there, right, first, and then we can kind of decide on an order for them. I
Yeah.
think that might be the way to go here.
Sure. Sounds good.
So I think Charizard is up there. I think Iono is up there.
Yeah.
Red, Lady.
Yeah. The lady. Fake Nurse Joy. Fake Nurse Joy. And then what else? Yeah, I mean, I think we Charizard, Yono, Red, Beedrill. I'm not sure. I think Beedrill will see some play, but I'm not
Beedrill's up.
sure. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I have to go. Let me go check the
What
EX
about
list again.
Clodsire? Clodsire, we both were really high on that one during the
Yeah,
review.
I mean, it's a super aggro card. It's like I see like the amount of pressure it can generate in a turn. It's just it doesn't. I'm not sure what the follow up to that is. Is it like are people gonna play Clogsire Magnezone? Like, I guess
Yeah.
Magnezone could be a choice, right? It's like a finisher. It ramps itself. I don't know. So yeah, out of the EXs, yes, I would go Charizard first, Clogsire second. Out of the supporters, I would go Yono first, Red second, and then we need like a fifth card, right? Maybe Pachi. I mean, I don't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I like Pachi, but I don't think it has any great pairings. But
Yeah.
or Wug Trio, either maybe Pachi or Wug Trio, right? Yeah, yeah. I think for me, the top five would be let's like pick them in a random order, and then we're gonna arrange them.
Wog Trio.
Yeah, Wug Trio.
Let me
Yeah,
think about that.
yeah. I'd have to go. Yeah, so I think like Charizard, Wug Trio, Clogsire, Yono, Red.
Yeah, I'm kind of liking that.
That's kind of my
I
top
might
five.
put it, so I for me, if I had to put those in order, it would be Charizard, then Iono, and again, that's kind of looking toward the future as well. I think that's a card that will. You might not see play immediately, but someday there's going to be a deck that loves Iono. If
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
not one
yeah,
already.
yeah.
Red, then probably Wug Trio, and then either Beedrill or Clodsire. I really
Yeah.
can't decide.
Yeah, the fifth slot is up in the air a little bit. So, but I agree with the list that you just made for the first top four. Yeah. Well,
What do we think? Clodsire or Beedrill? Like, Clodsire seems much better to me. It's a stage 1,
yeah,
not a stage 2, right? It's the map. Like I talked about how if you go second and you get to attack first with Wooper, you can do 170 damage before
yeah,
their
yeah,
third turn, right?
yeah,
Because you've got Wooper does 10, then it poisons at the end of your turn for 20, poisons at the end of their turn for 30, you hit for 120 for 150 total, then poison at the end of your turn again for 160, and finally another poison at the end of their turn for 170. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, I like it. I like it. So yeah, I think we could just tie them. We can tie Cloudshire and Beedrill for fifth. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that. I like that, kind of keeping us safe here.
Yeah. If we pick all the cards, we can't be wrong. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. You know what?
You know what,
I
guys?
think.
We're gonna do a 74 top list.
You know what? I think I'm going to do Rattata at 5, just to be safe.
There you go. If you pick all the cards in your top list, that means you can't be wrong. Easy, easy. But yeah, okay. So do we agree? Let's say like Charizard, uh, Yono, Wugtrio, Red, and then Clodsire, Beedrill in fifth.
Yeah. What are we missing here?
I think we got it. Do we got it, chat? Are we tripping?
Are we crazy?
Are we crazy? You'd rather not hit that.
Is this the moment we fall from grace and never make another top cut limitless again?
We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Trying to
Yeah.
jam Charizard.
I mean, we are kind of putting all our eggs into Charizard. New follower, congrats on winning tournament. Appreciate you. Thank you, Real Rab. Welcome. Appreciate you. Pachi plus Pika. Yeah, I'm excited to play Pachi plus Pika plus Luxray. I just don't know if it's gonna be competitive or not against Rampardos, Marshadow, and the likes. But I'll definitely, yeah.
I just want to say I appreciate all the new followers tonight, and for anyone in my chat, please follow MST if you want to watch, more high-level gameplay.
Yeah, appreciate you. Let me give you a shout out on this side too. So shout out to Roxas, our co-caster tonight, guys. Co-podcaster. Yeah, big love. Make sure to drop him a follow.
We're just a couple of tournament winners, and we've probably got at this point 30 top cuts between the two of us. We just love playing the game, love talking about the game, love streaming, high level pocket content gameplay. Yeah, so if that's your thing, and talking about theory, explaining our plays, yeah.
All right. Are there any more questions? Co-host is the word that you're looking for. I got it. I'm gonna write it down for next time. Any more questions? I think we can wrap this up.
One of the best things you could do for the two of us, other than giving us a follow, of course, is listening to us on Spotify, giving us a 5-star review there, and just helping build this podcast up as we continue to do more episodes for you. So there's already 2 great episodes on there. If you follow the links that are pinned in our streams, if this ends and you're craving more Roxas and MST, don't worry. There's 2 whole episodes on there. So.
Yeah, we got one more question. Do you think we will ever get to the point we don't auto add Prof and Ball? I mean, we saw people running only one Pokeball in trainer decks as well as fossil decks, right? Mm-hmm, so I think Pokeball, yeah, for sure. Like we don't need to auto add 2 in some decks. Professor, yeah, Professor. I don't see a world where we don't run Professor. It's yeah. I mean, yeah. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Yeah,
I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, right? Those cards aren't just inherently powerful. They're important. Can't be overstated. You need a basic. You need a basic. Like, plain and simple. So Pokeball is not going away. And Oak? I mean, here's okay, so let me throw this out. Here's a card that could power creep Oak. Draw 3, then discard 1. Right? You're still gaining 2 cards, but you have to discard one of them. But would they ever print that? I don't know. Right? I think there's a reason these cards are promos in the shop. It's because they're going to be around for a while.
Yeah.
And they're going to be playable for a while.
100%. All right.
You would run that plus Oak. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Right. So true.
All right. So, yeah. Any more questions? Let's see. We still got a couple more minutes. If
we'll give you a minute.
Yeah, we'll give them a minute. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm like super excited. I don't know about you, Roxas, but tomorrow's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm actually happy they're releasing it because last time they released it like on Thursday, right? Thursday night towards Friday morning. But this time they're doing like one earlier. So yeah, yeah.
I mean, if I'm awake at 2 a.m., yeah, I've got my Poke Gold ready. You
I'll
know,
probably wait.
I'm
I'll probably
excited.
wait till next afternoon. I'll play like the solo missions during the day, and then we'll do like a special stream in the evening.
Yeah, I mean, no, I do like doing the solo missions right when a set comes out because they're a really good way to get an initial evaluation on the cards and get a quick look into some of the lines those decks might have that
Yeah,
you're brewing. You know, I agree. But obviously, the hourglasses are great for cracking more packs.
yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully, everyone, good luck on opening your Pokeballs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your golden Pokeballs. Everyone is going to be the first person who plays two of those against me. I'm just going to delete the app at that point. So,
All right. All right.
yeah.
I think that should wrap it up. Appreciate you, Roxas. Thank you for yeah, for co-hosting with me. I think we had a lot of fun. Hopefully everybody had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if we're right in a month. You guys can come back and throw tomatoes at us if we're wrong. We'll try to
Look,
do better. So
we weren't spot on with Triumphant Light, were we? So anyone who wasn't here at the beginning, check the VOD, go back to the beginning.
yeah,
We laugh at ourselves a bit. You know, we had Crobat in that list.
that's
No
true.
Origin Form Pumpkin in sight. So, in fact, I'd suggest episode 2 of the podcast where we really do laugh at ourselves, don't we? Where we
That's
go and
true.
talk about that
Yeah,
card.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, no, everyone, thank you so much. And of course, MST, thank you as well.
Big
It
shout.
is so much fun. And just, I love creating content, Pokemon Pocket content. And I hope everyone found this insightful. I hope we mentioned some things that you just didn't have a chance to think about or didn't come to mind yet. And yeah, I also really appreciate the chat interaction. Like some of the things you said made me think about things as well.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
no, great
so
shout for the chat. Appreciate you, everybody tuning in today. You guys made some great points, and yeah, yeah, you guys rock basically. So hopefully we'll see each other, all of us together, in a month for the next pack. This has been
yeah,
a lot of fun. So thank you, Roxas. We'll do it for sure next month if you're open. And yeah, thank you,
hey, you
everybody.
know what? We might. I'm sure we'll do another episode in between, right? Some kind of meta review
Yeah,
for
that could
sure.
be cool. That could be cool. Yeah, yeah.
So
Like some mid-month review. See if we got it
exactly.
right or not.
Yeah.
All right. So
All right.
let's should we close it there?
Yeah. Definitely.
Awesome. All right. Thank you,
Take
Roxas.
care, everyone.
Take care. Yep.
Appreciate the support. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.